do it, they punish their opponents by letting them push first and phase. And with SRG, we have like sub-synergies, nothing really solid like we saw in game number 2. But immediately, we are making sure that RRQ is saying, hey,
hello, may Zakira, Nati, Ember Kano Zakriba, Wi-Fi gi Kano do, ama ko internet pack jatlaw hanbado. Adu do taw griba.
Not only protect the Farsa so that it doesn't combo alongside.
Adu gi internet masama tan mood green ba.
The Fredrin ban as well. Either could work out, especially with the fact that was already gone. But yeah, SRG also needing some burst damage for themselves, like you said, maybe something like the Hayabusa.
Let's go.
They just go for the double marksman, tank front line, you know, wait it out, take it slow, it's match point. They do have opportunity for that overall.
And I think this is the tough part now for RQ, because it's Fredrin ban, which it is, or whether it was going to be a Hayabusa ban, which it could have been. Good for SRG. Tanky fighter style junglers are gone, so they don't necessarily need to lean into the double marksman, but I think they will. Granger still looks really good for SRG, unless RRQ decides to take it away.
I think Granger is definitely a possibility. RQ could easily scoop that up though up front, unless our SRG says no, we're going to ban that out too, and that gets rid of more burst damage. Eventually, get rid of the Cho. Solid ban.
Really good foreshadowing coming in from, it's like not foreshadowing, but foresight coming in from Arcadia, because now, because we've seen this 2 times already, where Kesku is trying to corner the jungle options.
RRQ support. I do RRQ the support element.
Now there's a lot more burst coming out from RRQ side to
ilaw the low kaino na team liquid na.
RRQ lock in something like a Hilda here, potentially thinking about a major pickup of SRG. I think SRG wins, because if that's a Hilda, good thing it wasn't. Because this pick for Ida only shows up when RRQ are on. Alright, boys.
She plays it out. She plays RRQ na kata. Fit man sa sana gi doiba.
Pick in the row.
This is so good. I was thinking whether or not they wanted to get the Gatot for themselves. Counter engage against the Kalia, but unfortunately in this case, Tigreal works the exact same way, if not a little bit more precise with a scalpel rather than going for the big heavy left hand.
I wonder if we see something spicy here from SRG OG, something a little out of the norm. They've been able to surprise us with a few picks so far.
Team na low man ge hang debo bro to di ai go le lawan ning badi kaino na lawan ning ni onik na lawan ning ni karambo onik no ay tare ga di ame hekta ni ay onik ame hekta ni ay ko.
Assassin isn't looking too bad. Something that's not just going to get bullied around. There goes the Hayabusa. Last pick for RRQ though.
SRG Hayabusa pare.
Yeah,
Shikai's gear.
Even out the range. Do lock in the Granger.
RRQ no na hyper pare na. Farsa ba RRQ no na farsa pare na that. Let's go.
It's a 50-50 for me.
Yeah, it's a really big 50-50. I think there are a lot of counterplay for each of the individual lanes, especially for the mid duo. I think the problem is when it comes down to like first interactions, right? How is Little Wanderer gonna go? How is the first turtle going to happen? Because we need to see Edok hit level 4.
All right, will this be game number 5 or will it end here? RRQ and SRG, the fans in the arena, you need to show your love and make some noise for the teams you're supporting. Bring it on, Naisu, take us in.
Let's go.
Thank you so much once again to the panel for breaking it down here in game number 4. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it there. It's match point right now for SRG OG Esports as they move on forward. Game 5 no problem. Of course, semifinals ahead of them. RRQ's got to pull something up their sleeves. They brought out the Tigreal for Edok. Brigitte, do you think this is right? I mean, we heard the sentiments from the panel.
Yep.
You know, it could come down to some big plays coming up.
To these do or die situations, those clutch moments wherein you have to bring in your familiarity, your comforts. Undeniably, we've seen it multiple times, but whether or not these will be the right calls, because I'm worried from the way we've been seeing the past 2 games that RRQ may have been a bit too decisive on these calls, but it has to be all of them being decisive and coming together to follow up. So maybe that's my biggest worry, but in terms of playmaking, setups, okay, for sure Edok is going to be delivering on this Tigreal.
He has to. I think, you know, that's one of the main things, like, anytime we see one of these series, it's always the case, you know? It's the team that's able to go ahead and overlap the ultimates better or have the better execution, like we like to say, or make the less mistakes. But in this case, you know, as we take a look at the emblems too, I think a big part of this, once again, comes in the hands of Enoch. He's got to be able to set things up. Now, you sprinkle in some of that responsibility with Direct, like the activators are expected so far in our current meta. But I guess one of the biggest differences here in specifics to Enoch is
RRQ na ka target match 5 kano
it's a little bit
match 5 sana ka doiba.
I would say assured to get a setup instead of the choke. You see
Ay, forsado COD.
Gets to reposition, so won't get taken out just yet. But the phantom execution gets delayed by a
Moiki kano na tana ba sina na. RRQ ni hyper sina na.
Maybe not Stormy.
EXP kumba ting kumba tana ri sigari gino ba si.
They just get to force out the recalls, and I feel
Ay,
like that's for RRQ. Tyrant literally going at you forced to flicker. Better dare strike also committed by Rins. So they
see that Shidro, what the fuck?
These kills.
What the fuck? Shidro. That double kill.
Goes anyway. He's gonna do it. That doesn't long come back. So RRQ goes in, gets a double for Dyrant and the
settle with just the recalls, with just the battle spells. They had to get the kills because I feel like that's where RRQ really gets activated, when they're able to set the tempo and keep the pace. But now they seem to go after Toy. He has no way out of that. Storm or Innocent gets very low, however, but now they're gonna play it safe. They're already happy with what they've got there. It's a bit delayed, but that's the trade for SRG for now.
Yeah, it's still the case here, you know, in, like we've seen. Oh my
god.
And will still be alive. Susan and Stormy so low. He's going to be able to cover the ground. So this is the thing. You know, you have this trading going on. The big part of this is now Cram has to go against a 2-0 Phoveus. And like we've seen, Phoveus, even without kills, will usually be able to just kind of tank up 3 dudes, you know, 1v3 if he has to. This gives him a little bit of the advantage, but Cram on the blue is still relatively going to be fine, at least in the lane. Yeah. But once these next objective fights break out, that's where, you know, it's going to be kind of but also, it's just the case. Look at the damage already.
Cancelled by the knockup from the title strike, though, but the phantom execution. Doesn't land the Thorn Rose, though. But still, that's a lot. They got the kill on Innocent and Yumes. This is the time 5 game this way a lot more online because he's RRQ that RRQ can decide to play with. All aside from what you mentioned about Dyrant being on an early 2-0. We don't even know
SRG the Lepira. Don't, but look at this, the fight for the turtle. Assassins as well, of course.
Pero RRQ my vote goes to RRQ
on the board, but other than the play they made on Toy earlier
my vote goes to RRQ.
This is always the case with a Farsa. Farsa's damage is just pretty tough to deal with when you're getting set up in the mid lane, especially around this. In the setup.
Tyrant goes in but has the flicker to keep himself alive. Actually, ooh, the damage from Rins already too much. Enoch actually finds a setup onto Yumes in the top lane. Hit. What better way to establish this early game for RRQ. Toy. In terms of whoever they decide to go for in terms of setup so far.
Unfortunately, he didn't have earlier before he gets skills, but now he's got it. The positioning for the roamers are imperative. You can see Enoch right now playing the patient game. He's gonna go ahead.
Sacred Hammer finds Crab, forces out the flicker. And they still get to hand over that Sekai's not looking too good because it seems like RRQ, they're just so in sync right now. They're cover
I di RRQ ni kayo, I di nga sa di RRQ da high kayo, kana team change tayo, put low road yun.
Next, I mean, look at where Edok positions himself. One push after another.
Brigida, he's like, okay, I didn't have the implosion earlier on. I have it now. You know, so he went in with Sacred Hammer. That was fine. Didn't get anything. But ultimately, they're playing around this last turtle of the game.
Kaino di advantage si SRG na heli ko. Game 7 na ko SRG na ni makarim ni na. Ado na sida RRQ si presada ni di pada na sana ri ji.
RRQ is here. Sakai's, I don't think he makes it.
Kaino tadal uma RRQ na loy laura po. Kay daw ray no. Ay ma.
At least for SRG, they go and put a push on that tier 1 turret. That's about the best that Innocent can do, at least for now. But the eyes are set here for the tier 1 of the mid.
Yep. Yums can potentially go in if he finds an angle, but he will be respecting RRQ for now. Innocent with the SOD just to join his other teammates as Direct
game change kay lay dai ne nang hai ki bata yare da nang bo ay hat ko le po da
for now. Not until they have sufficient resources in their arsenal. They're working on a double marksman lineup nonetheless. So I feel like the late game won't be that big of a problem if ever SRG OG are able to extend the fight. But does Innocent know that Rinse is there?
I don't know. Well, they're gonna know he's there anyway.
Oh, now they find out! Innocent! That was so unfortunate.
The question was did Rins know? You know, like
SRG ke draft se late game hero ngakta ne adu ne
just spots him out. So Innocent going down there is really unfortunate for SRG.
Adu late game ki hero hoy ta ga su mathai ki farming pi da ba adagi kaino tau da ba map chum pai ba hen chala ga di RRQ na ka gi do ni late game hoy ta ga su
this tier 2 of the top side.
pai lai te dum di
is pretty open for RRQ. Conceal's going to be used.
Okay.
I don't think they are able to catch anyone, but if they get a shield this early on,
wow,
it's great for RRQ.
Oh my goodness. When all other members of RRQ weren't even nearby, but the Yogi Shadow kill gets split up against 4 members. Somehow Cram also gets to mount on Edok, but they won't be going with the fight just yet. Title strike to deny Sujin, Spear of Misery, push him back a bit, but with the RRQ now, Innocent next on the chopping block. That's 3 members of SRG just deleted. Even when we thought they could actually find back.
Such a clean game right now from RRQ. Sakai's in trouble, forced off with the feather. This is a base turret being knocked down from RRQ. SRG can't do anything but watch as the base turret falls. And meanwhile, the Lord has been worked on and secured by Sutsujin. And this is going to be a big play now for RRQ to march into a base that is vulnerable for SRG.
When they said they secured the Lord, I had to check if Innocent had an SOD because of
Yai Papa. Thank you for the 20 rupees super chat. Everybody big shout out to Yai Papa.
So many resources burned out here by SRG just to push back the members of RRQ, just to force them to walk away. And I mean, they did successfully do so, especially in terms of trying to at least push Edok away, but that didn't stop Dyron, that didn't stop the other members, but that's a tsunami slam already committed onto Edok, won't be able to Sujin goes in with the fast execution, finds the kill onto Stormy, there's a knockup as well coming in from Yums, but look at the Rhapsodies from Toy, guys, and gets a double on the Granger.
A great initiation, a great sandwich play on the tier 2. RRQ will lose himself to an 11,000 lead. Can they end the game here?
It seems like the kingdom is
I think they can end the game here.
Yes. Sutsujin gets the kill on Innocent, Rin's great positioning just to clear the waves, and they will deliver indeed.
What the? What the game?
RRQ of the Red Giants at the walls, and they came out just swinging in this game for absolute perfection of a game for them. A massive lead, the cleanest we've seen so far in the series. And it brings it down to now, yeah, really, what are we going to expect for Game 5? There was no answer to the pressure that was put on
best of 3, best of 5 the full match
and we got to see a very good performance as well from Susujin and just the squad to be able to make this Lancelot work, to make this composition work. Again, the Farsa proving how much of a threat it can be for a lot of this. But again, it comes down to, that early start, he's XP laners, I'm telling you. If they get an early lead, if they are built up, they are allowed to put so much pressure on early team fights, and then the team follows through from that. So, again, amazing game for very one-sided for RRQ. Let's throw it over to the panel to see what they have to say.
Pretty much went as much as we expected.
Last game
50-50 were after the draft. At the end of the day, RRQ with one great rotation.
My vote is always on RRQ. Come on.
Going to a game number 5. Gentlemen, how are you feeling about that?
I'm feeling excited about it. I think it's amazing. I was a little worried after SRG got to match point. I thought for sure we were only going to see Game 4, but RRQ puts on their big boy pants, they strap up, and they come in and take another win.
Oh yeah, Susujin played a phenomenal early game. I think because of him, they've basically won by the third minute, right? You saw that double kill that happened down by bot. The fact that we see Stormy hit level 4 on time, the fact that we also saw the punishment of losing out on 2 waves because of that dragged out the risk of taking damage for the side of Rins as well as Susujin, and I think they won that coin flip.
Yeah, and I think with that, SRG taking some of those losses early on, I think it was one of the first highlights we saw in the mid lane. Yumes went for that Tsunami Slam, and I think maybe they overestimated their strength a little too early on there. They were unable to get the kill onto IDOC. They were unable to do certain things, and that's what you kind of pay the price for. Yes, the Kimmy is amazing, but early game, the damage isn't always there, and I think SRG maybe should have waited it out a little bit longer.
Yeah, your money is your money, my money is your money.
Blue has a better map presence compared to, or excuse me, the Focus has a better map presence compared to the Glue. Sekai's jungle keeps getting invaded. The raw damage early on, much better for RRQ. They just played this to their draft strengths.
That's the thing. I feel like, honestly, I think that SRG had a chance if everything went even up until mid, because of that double kill down by the bottom side pre-level 4, it spiraled so far out of control for the side of SRG, allowing RRQ to basically do whatever they want, right? It's the base rule of capitalism of the rich get richer, the poor get poorer.
I gotta point something else out. Last year, Rins, game number 4 on a Farsa came up short. Game number 4, MSC 2025, he is the carry most damage dealt on the way to redeem himself. That's poetry right there.
Yeah, you're what do you need a better way? The fact that that happened for him, so I feel like he's already got his redemption, but for him, redemption doesn't come until they get that win over SRG. And now I think moving forward, looking at Rins and what he ends up with in the mid lane, and most importantly, what Clam ends up with. As good as the Glue was, it just didn't give the presence that they needed. You also have to what you mentioned early on.
I mean, paid and it cost them everything. They could not. They could basically kind of walk around and do whatever they want. Check you each and every time. It's really hard because we saw the snowball of I get a lead, and therefore Rins gets his lead, both of us will go down by 2 people. Everybody's having a good time. Question, do we think best side because the two, it's tied though. It's to do, but keep in mind about what the opening picks were, right? Kalia gets shown on that blue side, or even the Jushin gets showed up, both of which has a very clean line for the both drafters, Arcadian as well as SQ, to kind of run it down on their wondering, because that was going to do we think SRG will red side? They were able to win that one blue side game with kind of the cheeky draft they pulled off, those 2 bans, really catching RRQ off guard.
is that plan spent now? And are they forced back to, because normally it's not so easy. Normally it's not a 50-50 on red blue side, and that makes this last game even harder in terms of draft.
Yeah, I think this is where we share your two opinions here. Where for me it's XP trade as your prio, but definitely SRG needs to pick red side here. Heading into this game number 5, they do have that choice. Hopefully they do pick up that choice, because if they go for the same priorities again similar to number 4, there's not a lot of wiggle room in what you could adjust.
RRQ na
phase instead of blue, so spread up with the chemical you have a solid but then and RRQ haven't been shot with making sure that Cram ends with a hero just that does much better things for RRQ than
I have to agree with that, which is why the pocket picks need to start coming out, right? I think Rizla needs to be a serious consideration now that, again, xenophobia's happened a couple of times, but more importantly, the CC has been banned consistently in the first phase.
I would say also for SRG, so far we've seen some of their great pocket picks is in their jungle. We saw that export come out. I'm wondering if pocket pick should be elsewhere other than EXP.
Bro,
make sure decent EXP and Magen early on, and then let your flexibility be around marksman, be around jungle, be elsewhere on the map. Because after that export game, it feels like Sakai can literally pretty much pick up whatever they want and be able to win a game.
I think outside of the usual Farsas, Juicens, and Misa, we've been seeing really have a great time ever since the group stage. Teams are going to have heroes such as like the Valentina and Faramis coming back as options, especially the Faramis. We've seen a couple of games, even in wildcard, Faramis comes in RRQ, SRG, RRQ. Suddenly they're so aggressive in the early because they know they can play around the Nether Realm, and then the opposing team gets rattled. Maybe that's something these teams might want to consider and lean into heading into game number 5. Are there any picks that you're looking for? You said you're looking for the Rizla. Is there a specific pick that you're looking for here, Trex?
To that Lu Yi.
Oh,
I mean, it's always a possibility, right? Yeah. Like just because of the utility you get from it. But I think in current meta, stationary mages are hard to pull off. ZTN gets the path mainly because of the passive, because of the ability to cut skills a little. But overall, a lot of mages that don't have flickers, don't have big movement,
still a huge problem for either side, no matter who picks it up. Large problem. We've seen that within the first phase of both sides, consistently gets banned out. Arguably, the Farsa should be considered part of that ban as well, if not at least the Kalia, one or the other.
Oh, okay, a lot of we mentioned some of the surprise picks to come out. Now it's all momentum is on the side of RRQ that SRG really needs to pull something out here. Do they go for assassins? I know we consider the landlord, but should they try to find a way to force RRQ to play back into just playing utility, playing a slower game? That there are times where we've seen SRG do play well around that as well. Guys can afford to be aggressive while at the same time not dying as much.
Well, let's start making the comparisons, right? What are the strong points of both of these teams? And I think that one thing that SRG knows that they are slightly better at compared to RRQ is when it comes to 5v5 team fights. In terms of raw macro, I think that RRQ is very good at kind of, well, not really simulating, but forcing SRG into force, right? No matter what decision, you're going to lose something.
For me, I don't know. Both teams bring it into the land of Dawn. I think a lot of it's going to come down to draft. I think it's going to happen before the game. I think SRG, one of their strengths is their versatility, their ability to kind of play a little outside of the box, be willing to draft things that other teams might risk and make it work. Towards RRQ, their strength still is we can keep it simple, and we know how to hammer that simplicity in very, very well. You give us a score draft with strong picks, and we are going to win the game with it.
Seems like the more we discuss this, if anyone's going to be showing up any surprise, this might be on the side of SRG. We see the fans in the arena just cheering on their team.
Woo! Thank you, my brother.
For a moment there, I was
Guys,
wait a minute.
guys,
Did we just go back
guys,
time, or
this is a deciding match. So,
game number 5.
due to the deciding match, here comes the mukbang.
That's what I'm hoping
God.
for. That's what I'm
Here comes the mukbang.
And I think now that they kind of put that mental chess game between Katie and as well as Kenji, they understand the power picks. I don't
Here
think
comes the
RRQ is
mukbang.
going to change from their pattern in terms of bans, especially for the first two. Fanny's definitely going to go.
So here's a question for RRQ. Do you ban out the Farza and look for the Jushin up front? If they still want to hunker down into that Jushin first pick blue side, I think they definitely ban out the Farza. We've seen them ban out the CC as well on blue side, not wanting to let Cram get it on the swing back. I think it's something we could see pop up. YSS, though, getting banned out from SRG.
Yeah.
Karaan bento ko lagi.
SRG
Penny.
needs to
Sinsin.
reconsider. Oh, they take away the CC. Good respect there. I think I want to see you end up not with the Kalea, but something along the lines of a Badang, Gatakacha, something to break the tempo of RRQ, force out dashes to put them in awkward spots where maybe they dash the wrong position. Because if RRQ can pick comfortably, as we saw in game number 4, they're just unstoppable.
Every single time we see Kalia let through, SRG is more than happy to either build their synergy around the Kalia. Something else. And I feel like the onus is on RRQ to get rid of it in the first place. I don't think
Moya,
they will. I
that
think
is
it's a key pattern that they want to take advantage of.
We have seen, though, that RRQ can deal with
Moya, that
Kalea
is
a little bit.
I know.
I don't know if that's on the forefront of the mind right now, at least in terms of risk. There's ways to play around it. If they put something aggressive, they go for the Jushin ban first. So no, we want Farza now. SRG now on the spot of, do we ban the Farza? Because if we don't, I got a feeling it's coming up front for RRQ as the first side blue. Sure.
Yeah, I'm not going to deny that, dude. I'm feeling the same way right now. Jushin ban right away just signals as if RRQ is trying to say, no, we want the Farza right here, the first pick. Even more so now, though, RRQ will have to think about, okay, my suggestion. What if SRG decides to put up a Gatot Kacha in the hands of Yumes, or even grab one of those two heroes? That makes the Farza first pick all the more questionable.
You just get purified, man.
Well,
you just get purified.
I did see the last game. I saw purified.
Heroes that counter her just seem to not do that much. I think the laning phase you get from
there we go.
I've been saying this for the past month or two. She is the mage right now for me in the mid lane. She belongs in the ban pool or something like this. Red side, Kalea.
I think they go Kalea. I think you go straight into Athon here, and then you're looking for an immediate answer down the lane, which I'm thinking is probably going to be Granger.
Rush. I was thinking maybe a Moskov rush.
Well, either a Granger rush or we immediately lean into Lancelot, right? Because again, you want to affect what is going to be coming out from the side of RRQ side. The problem is that if you shoot Lancelot, it's almost guaranteed to be full from RRQ.
Good call. Because of what we know with utility, they can still pick up Fredrin here if they want. They have the burst damage behind it. Maybe they go for Granger Fred here and just kind of solid up. They have their damage, and then they can fill out the rest after.
Granger Fred looks like two very powerful picks right now for RRQ. Do they lead into that? Sounded like a Granger. Sounded Fredrin. They go for the Phoveus first. Come back to bite them, because SRG, if I'm SRG, I will be committing back right away. Fredrin takes Oxygen out of his comfort. Put him in an assassin yet again.
SRG pick up EXP though here. See what happened last game where they get the glue or something against the Phoveus. They need something to do okay in lane against the Phoveus, and with CC gone, it's like, what else?
This is the last match. Enjoying with Singzu. We don't need popcorn. We don't need popcorn. We only need Singzu. Here is the Singzu. Guys, here is the Singzu.
But then you have the heavy spin to mess up the Phoveus in the first place.
I don't disagree. I think that Kai is okay, but glue is always the go-to in the match. I think Cram has played like thousands of games of Glue into Phobias every single time, and that's the risk to take here, right? But this opens up a couple of possibilities. Now that we see what Toy is going to be playing, SRG, I think at this point are trying to figure out what is the mid pick that's going to be able to counter everything on the side of RRQ, and I think that's where we're going to see the flex pick. It might just be
RRQ
as a means,
baby,
but
get ready to give me 500 rupees.
It's a little risky.
Okay.
I mentioned the Valentina earlier. At least you get the feather strike with that pick. Much earlier in this day, I mentioned something like the Novaria, something to at least have big range.
Oh, yes.
And at least poke, and at least not ever be in range of the Farza. It's not going to clear, it's not going to maybe rotate as fast, but at least you have range and you have that backline arsenal.
Sino Kobiga? Nasagi doon latest kanina na ko. Sino Kobiga? Sino Kobiga to? Kobi with the single. We don't need popcorn. We might take people who need popcorn.
That means he has to go even further down the list of potential things to pick. You need burst. That's the problem. You need a lot of burst to make sure this Kalia pick is not wasted, and you need divers to jump in the backline. So they've already figured out their divers, right? They have a pseudo burst coming in from that Lancelot, assuming he gets his first 2 items. But now the big issue is whether or not you have somebody that can either clean up the fight, which potentially either the flex picks coming up from the side, but specifically Innocent is Roger, or is he just going to double down and be like, all right, I'm going to play Claude again. That way I can kind of like cut down on the tanks and more importantly so kind of bypass the Feathered Airstrike.
I think they could save gold for last pick. Aerothel's maybe a possibility, but they're I think RRQ's on the same track of me of like they need a long range mage right now, something that can pop up. Kadita also still another pick that we've seen depending, but it's like who do they pick first here? That's the hard thing for me for SRG. It's who do we want to try to get the last counterplay as?
I think RRQ is just going to end up with an Akai again, and then that will force SRG to go Valentina just so that they have the heavy spin on their side as well. So in a way, it's them getting an Akai without having to pick an Akai. But then you don't have the range. You are going to be getting uncomfortably close to the members of RRQ.
I think the call is on Innocent. Yep, there we go. Innocent will have to make the final call here, because at the end of the day, Stormy understands that his role is to try to maximize his value. But with this Beatrix pick, it now comes to execute well. And as well as the Gato to immediately look to punish this Beatrix.
That is tough. RQ this time for my eyes does seem a little ahead in terms of just predicting how SRG is going to approach this. SRG last pick, still need a mage.
Yeah, I think it has to be Valentina at this point. Not only can you get the Feathered Airstrike, you also the ultimate of the Joy, as we've seen as one of the old responses to a Joy, is you pick up the Electrifying Beats as well as a Valentina as your escape tool, sometimes as your engage tool.
But then you give up pressure over mid lane. The 2-2 is not good in the earlier stages of the game, and it's like, oh sure you survive, but Gato makes it obsolete, so they always get first move.
Nana, I
mean Zetian's like okay, but there we go. They go for the Kimmy this time around.
Gimme.
To try and put a brass tax on them, it's still hard.
Alright, real quick, your vibe, is it SRG or RRQ, Gideon?
I'm thinking that RRQ have a much better lineup this time around.
Drex?
I like RRQ's draft overall. Not saying that SRG's isn't possible to pull off.
Hey, RRQ na kara
in a spot where there's a lot of pieces, and it kind of has to work out perfect for them.
Our analysts have spoken and we are split. What does the arena feel like? Amazon Arena, is it going to be SRG? Or is it going to be RRQ? That's what we get to the decider. Will Kingdom get redemption, or will SRG continue their push forward to their title? Brigida, Naisu, let's go!
Thank you so much once again to the panel here. Ladies and gentlemen, it's me, Naisu, and Brigida, to bring you our final match for this series. It all comes down to this one game. It's been one already, a back and forth and some one-sided games, but that can all go behind us as both teams focus on this last and final one.
Focus, man. Focus on the game, man.
Like they're all for RRQ. What do you think here? Who's got the better lineup for this game 5?
I mean, beyond the better lineup, I'm also considering momentum because RRQ are still riding off what happened in the previous game, and that reflects as early as 30 seconds into this deciding game. Yoon was already forced
Cái đâu no bay hết sắp bị
use the flicker. And if this happens time and time again, we might see another scenario of hesitation, which literally will be towards SRG. Already mentioned by our so many pieces have to come together for them to be able to pull off the better game.
It's been the case so far throughout the series, really. And a lot of that pressure still, you know, of course, like we said, doing their part, and even down to the roaming potential, but it's going to be a little bit different because the fact that this is a
ONIC Indonesia di semifinal sangre. Tim Liga ketado ini hayang.
The sense of usually Moscow in his hands. So now the game plan changes a bit for them. This whole series has been about team fighting, and this is one of the lineups that I feel like for
RRQ,
SRG OG to make it work, they have to be able to find the right timing for things. I mean, that has been the case anytime a Kalea is there, but then as well, it might be an early fight already.
Look, went in with the
RRQ, come on, man!
Already committed by Sekaiza as well, but he doesn't get to find a kill onto Edok. Only the Revitalize was forced out of RRQ in that scenario.
That's all they got. They might still go for more. They put some pressure here.
Let's
on
damages deals back enough damage to SRG OG. Such a good back and forth for both of these teams. So it might happen here.
And a lot of this brings it to the first objective. The turtle. From Edok.
Oh, he flickers go in, and the better dare things
SRG na turtle low
RRQ, but the objective falls into the hands of SRG OG. AOG also committed by Edok as well, but they might not get
It's crazy how the fight up at the top side of the map turned into eventually that turtle. Nice little take there from Innocent. But again, it's not too crazy. Yes, SRG got the turtle. That's fine. RRQ gets the first and that goes in the hands of Dyrant. Again, a lot of the trending here for that game there is once they get that advantage, they play into it. But still, we're seeing how both these lineups don't rinse.
Oh, those wings got cancelled. Still, he's alive. Like, won't risk going in and potentially getting punished by RRQ. Now, fortunately, they're still able to somehow control majority of their lanes. Not too big of an advantage just handed over to any of the members of RRQ.
RRQ for the win! RRQ for the win!
Whenever they decide to go in, they have ways to just constantly reposition themselves and get out.
RRQ na karagadi ay nakadaway pa sa
maybe on Crab, but he still has the puncture to get out. Now there is the mount coming in from Crab. They will find the kill on Tyrant instead.
Great job there from Cram to go ahead and bring Dyrant back. That's exactly
let's go.
These instances where you can reposition for the team to take favor of that. So good play up there.
We don't need popcorn.
Extra damage on that turret.
We only need Singzu
that he needs to go ahead and build in on this glue. So Turtle will be up here shortly, but you know, going back to it, it's you got a couple purifies to go ahead and utilize if you're RRQ, and over on the other side, a lot of the work that they've been doing is getting those flickers down from SRG, and we could see the same thing happen from time to time before either team actually commits to the turtle. Now, RRQ's got positioning, they've got that favorable option, but Sakai's on the landslide. Can just kind of join into this fight, and that's why they make their way here. Cram's going to zone out.
Passive execution already committed. They just a slight reset, but still Sakai gets the last hit. There's a penetration from Innocent as well, and they get to burst down Siren. They have to walk away. They already lost a member. Now SRG, this is where it works for them, and Innocent getting that kill. Massive, already granting him the early Blade of Despair.
Yep, good for him. He rotated on up. And I thought both gold laners would actually join that, but totally decided to do some extra turret. And the fact that the kill and the objective go over helped out. Oh no! Stormy!
Such a well-coordinated attack from Sutsujin and Rins. The first hit from the Fettered Airstrike didn't land, so it wasn't an immediate stun, but Sutsujin was there either way to... combo has been working too well for SRG so far in terms of getting the pickoffs,
nung
even
chubin na
in the
kayo
toppiest
kanti ang
heroes.
isaw kala
But now
eme.
Doom's still trying to go for it. Toy will just try to damage that tier 2 turret a bit, but they might have to walk away now. These are 4 members of SRG OG who might try to go for the chase. Now they try to lock down onto Edok. Doesn't have a way out. No, actually, has the AOG. Doesn't need a flicker or anything to just reposition out of there.
Well, they want this turret.
Yeah, but they might have to hand over this turret. Now let me
Nung chubin na kayo kanti stop sa lay pa.
with his life.
A great shot from Innocent. I'm not sure if they'll get more, but they've been down on this bottom side of the map quite a bit. Good clearing up there on top too. Cram in trouble.
That's a decent amount of damage, but another Bennett's Rage to burst down Tyrant. Always the victim of the Bennett's Rage. Electrifying beats from Sutsujin, though nearly taking down Innocent, but he has a flicker. Phantom Execution doesn't land as well, and they just get a bit of information, but will have to let go of this turtle for now.
They fought really hard for all of this last minute. They spent so much time on this side of the map.
Whoa.
They get the objective. They'll take a little bit more. Sakai's holding Edok here. And SRG,
My vote goes to
they're
SRG.
in a good position now. You're seeing where that power spike for them is starting to come online. Innocent is starting to be a problem. He's got the 3 kills now as well.
Yep. It's these 2 guys up top. It's Yums and Innocent.
It's the boys.
It's the boys. The way they're just so coordinated so far in this game, it's doing wonders for SRG OG. I feel like this is the most coordinated we've seen them so far. Sutsujin barely surviving that. Guys, will he decide to dash in once again? Barely touches the Thorgros.
Hold on for a little longer because Sutsujin
My vote
getting
goes
really
to
close
SRG,
there.
guys.
Endless battle now picked up for Sakai. So there's going to be a fight.
Oh, Tsunami Slam committed onto Dyrant again, but has the flicker. Doesn't get to receive the
Bring him
Bennett's
back.
Rage this time, but again, Edok's brought back, but has the AOG to also get away. So SRG aren't able to convert that into a kill yet again, but Toy, oh, decent amount of damage already coming in. Riz, wings by wings, dodges the Renner's apathy. Such a close fight between these 2 so far.
I think they want more, but they're going to be focusing on Cram. Now they want control of this tier 1 up top, but it should be cleared up. Sakai's is here. He's going to go for it.
Doesn't land the Phantom Execution, but has enough damage to deal with. Okay, who would have thought? SRG, even despite the situation, they have other members to rely on to go for the surprise attacks. And so RRQ, they might have to consider that and not be too complacent in terms of grouping up together, in as much as that's how they really utilize the strengths of their lineup.
Big item pickup here too for Cram. A Radiant Armor now available. Some of that magic resist going to play into the part. They're going to go for the slam.
Oh, Edok is the target once more here. Receives the Bennett's Rage once again and gets blasted by SRG OG. That's a successful pickup for their team right as the Lord has spawned in the bottom lane.
My vote goes to SRG.
Members or the teams, it's just pretty equal. It's mostly really on the EXP lane, which I feel SRG OG was really keen on trying to shut down. Phantom Execution towards Rinse and Toy, but Tyrant gets bursted down once again. But might just have to disengage. Innocent, he flickers in. He knew he had the damage.
He knew he had it, but now they don't have a jungler. And right now, RRQ, even without Dyran, they could go ahead, set things up for their favor. Unless SRG does something about it. AOG to the late Cram.
AOG to the face. Edok doing it very reviving and sustaining, but Sutsujin might come from the side, try to burst down a couple members here from SRG OG, but now Innocent with the Renner could only do so much. I feel like he just switched it so he couldn't dish out that much damage if he doesn't target it well enough. Oh, but he wasn't in the range of the Bennett's Rage. That saved Edok.
Sutsujin looking for more, gonna go under the turret with the beats, under the tier 1, but stopped in his tracks. And it has been a back and forth, all of this, between both the teams, but the position now for this Lord here is RRQ.
Yeah, I have to say the knockups coming in from Yums have been very, very crucial though. Either in looking for the targets to set up with a Tsunami Slam, or just to literally deny RRQ from chasing down the other members of SRG OG. Earlier right now, but there's the better airstrike. Another 2-man knockup coming in from RRQ. For RRQ, you do not want that.
Sutsujin He can still come in from that backside, but he's going to be stopped in his tracks. Cram will zone them out. It might come down to a retribution battle if they decide to go for it.
Oh, Reyes, will he cast his ultimate right now? Gets threatened here by Sakai as he goes out for Edok, but they find the kill on Dyren. Now Sutsujin might not find the right angle to go in anymore. He's only left alone here. As SRG take the Lord.
A great team fight, a great juggle around that Lord for SRG. They did lose the Holy Shield up top to the minions pushing in, but nonetheless they won that fight. They get the objective. We'll take a look at the instant replay again from STC. This was really good. They zoned out the right members of this fight. Sutsujin didn't have an angle to go for it. I mean, he sees Cram and he's like, I can't go for this. And then they held that Lord from going into a complete reset to be able to secure it. And now they're at the base of RRQ.
Yep. Putting yourself together for you is becoming such a problem. Almost always has its flicker to threaten RRQ, to keep them on their toes, and for Ritz to just not be able to dish out the fettered airstrike as often as he wanted to. Even in that moment where he has the vision on the objective, he just couldn't, because too many members of SRG OG could decide to dive in at any given moment. And I feel that that's what makes up majority of the idea of their lineup too. It's literally formation breaking, formation breakers for SRG OG.
Man, if we look at this, the items too, you know, Dyren, what a roller coaster of a series.
Yep.
Like this game, he's been pretty much just stopped. He is a punching bag for SRG OG Esports to go ahead and utilize, because he has been constantly picked off. He doesn't have much defense at all. You know, he's got the blade on him, but that's about it. A little extra defense. Now that might be somewhat okay in consideration he's playing a Phobius, but if you're picked off with the Tsunami Slam and then immediately deleted, then the value of you being the XP laner, being that kind of front body other than Edok, puts Edok in that situation where a lot of times he's the one trying to get away, disengage with the Avatar of the Guardian instead of engaging with it. So it's been a really good just decision making from SRG to play around the fact that, you know, they have this Kalea and even down to the traction pulse, but also the fact that Cram is just so damn tanky that you can't really deal too much with him. And he's built this glue up really well. He's also now got an immortality. I mean, look how much damage this guy has taken.
Yeah.
He can basically go 1v5 on the glue and be okay for the most part until RRQ gets to the point, itemization wise, where they catch up. Now, how long is that? Probably another 5 minutes or so. Like, they need to get there. At least for Toy, he is on par with Innocent. And imagine, Innocent's got 5 kills. That's really good for Toy, but if he's taken out early, you lose all that.
Cyclone Eye!
What the fuck is wrong with you? What the fuck is wrong with you?
They find the kill on to Toy as well. Sutsujin gets to trade out Sakai's, but that's an exchange of 3.
It's a 3-to-1 trade. Brigida right now, SRG, they know the shield is down. They're going to push into the base turret.
Oh, Purify already used there by
my vote goes to SRG.
Had to dodge the traction pulse.
My vote goes to SRG.
From SRG OG, they only want one thing.
My vote goes to SRG.
The defending champions, the Red Giants will remain, and they shall prevail over the kingdom.
Redemption.
Yay, SRG!
The M6 rematch carved RRQ's ruins as the Red Giants storm through the walls ahead to the semis. We can all let a breath out here because we had one hell of a series, and of course the sportsmanship here between these two powerhouse teams. Unfortunately, only one can move on forward.
So many times where we were just so uncertain as to who could get the better trades or to whom it would be a lot more favorable, but SRG OG, their composure, it was very commendable of them to stay that composed and coordinated. Like I have to bring it up once again, because the way that the game played out from the early to the mid stages of the game, it was literally Young's, Innocent, always setting things up, starting things up. And you wouldn't usually consider the XP laner to be the first one, but it just worked so well for SRG OG.
So I said, Brigida, I mean, think about this series overall for both our XP laners, but, you know, because even this, like, you look at these highlights, and Cram had such a good game here, and it's been a back and forth between their experiences throughout each game, you know, where we got to see Dyra do crazy things in game 1, then we saw Cram do it, and then they really solidified as a team as the series went on, and this time SRG just looked so clean with it. This was one of those games where they just locked in. Let's go ahead and throw it over on stage though with Rose to hear for our winning interview.
Thank you very much to our casters, and there you guys have it. The defending champions will be heading on to the semi-finals tomorrow. And right now, from Selangor Red Giants OG Esports, I am with the mage prodigy of Malaysia. It is none other than Stormy. Stormy, how are you right now?
I'm really proud with myself, my team, and really happy that we won today.
After this win, you guys are practically one step closer to defending the crown. Do you feel pressure? Do you feel nervous, or are you actually really confident?
RRQ game is to Aroy with the Soy Aba. Aroy with the Nabas Hoy to Fasadu Yauriba for Vesu Yauriba.
To the next stage,
I think everybody here is happy, as well as the fans back.
No, I'm not happy, man. I lost 500, man.
RRQ, because we know that the reason RRQ chose you guys in the group draw was because they said that they were kind of looking for a revenge up against you guys. Now, for the second time that you guys have met RRQ, SRG came out on top. Is there any message that you want to give RRQ?
To RRQ, nice try, I guess.
See you guys next time?
I hope so.
Yeah, I do believe that RRQ can come back stronger in the future tournaments, and who knows, maybe then they can meet SRG once again. Okay, let's talk about the match a little bit. We know it's a full best of 5, the full series that we've had, first full series that we've had since the knockout stage began. Now, Stormy, in the first game, we could see that it was a very 50-50 matchup up against RRQ. What was actually happening?
On the first game, I don't remember that much in first game, but I think we did one mistake and it turned everything around. So I just think that it's just a mistake.
Semi-finals it was a complete brawl actually in the game 1. Then you guys managed to regain momentum and came back stronger in game 2 and 3. However, for your match point, game 4, what was that? What happened there?
We did another mistake on the first turtle before the turtle, so it happens.
Was it a case of overconfidence or miscommunication?
Not really. I think we just like wrong mechanics, I guess. That's it.
Okay, now after this win, do you guys think that SRG OG Esports it's back to its perfect form?
What?
Do you guys think you're back to your perfect form or not yet?
Inshallah, yeah.
Hopefully. Okay, now the next match, the match after this, right, Stormy? It will decide who you guys will meet in the semi-finals tomorrow. ONIC Philippines and Team Spirit, who do you want to meet?
I don't mind any actually, but I'm hoping that ONIC PH, because it might be a good story for us also.
Good story, and hey, we could be looking at another revenge matchup against ONIC Philippines, because in case you guys didn't know, ONIC Philippines dropped SRG OG Esports to the lower bracket over at M6. Before I wrap up this interview, is there anything you want to say to ONIC Philippines in case you guys will be able to meet tomorrow?
Just good luck, have fun, and do the best, yeah.
Thank you very much, Stormy. Congratulations. And there you guys have it. SRG OG will be moving on to the next round tomorrow. With that, let us throw it back to the panel to break down what happened in this crazy full series. Back to you guys.
It's not redemption, but it's devastation as the Giants just trample over the Kingdom of RRQ, loading over them to advance into the semi-finals in Game 5 that I felt like at one point it was just a game of inches, man. The first one who would mess up or miss position will get punished, and that's what we saw in the very final fight.
Dude, my heart could not take it. Can this be like the new El Clasico? You know, we don't need EVOS anymore. Get them out of here. These matches are insanely not only fun to watch, but on a technical aspect, I think every MLBB lover can really appreciate it. But here we go. This is the most painful.
Two members are having their key crushed right now. definitely hurts. The fans of RRQ are watching this happen. I mean, SRG deserves it. Oh, that's the best part.
What the fuck I did? Lemon hoy matam gi wari ni. Mani lemon hoy matam gi ni thai nei support taw lak pa do. Adu gi support taw hai ba yambo.
And then you see his reaction. Well, of course, again, the key crushes, people were looking for them at the end of group stages, but now we are seeing them here during the knockout. We saw 2 yesterday. We see the first one today. Again, thank you to RRQ, Hoshi, the fans, and of course the team for all your efforts you brought out here. There are a lot of people who are actually looking at this and saying, hey, I think RRQ will get the redemption. I think they redeemed themselves in some way, but ultimately it was just SRGOG just proving why they became champions last year. In the world.
I think out of all, the fact is it's now currently year two of the team picking SRG in this particular format and dropping the ball. I think, hey, if they are the last kids picked on the basketball court like this, I mean, next year, hopefully teams really consider like, oh man, should we roll the dice again?
You know, I think it's also another good point. Last time what we saw from SRG, they went up against a rare, actually, got the win, and then moved forward and were able to make it to grand finals. You know, what does this say for SRG? Because I think we came in the top 8 kind of questioning them a little bit this MSC, wondering how they were going to perform. They had a rough groups, and they just took out RRQ, which a lot of people were putting very high on the pedestal this year.
And someone we have to put on a pedestal now is our Sony Series MVP. In a game decided by so many trades for key heroes, it was in the EXP lane of SRGOG where they found their anchor, where they found Cram to help lead the team to victory.
Yeah, I think even in that very last major team fight, Cram was the one that got the double stun.
Match mga sanagadra match 3 sanagadra ONIC PH ki guys
smashes the dream once again, and throughout this whole series Cram has been so important to every single match.
Yeah, he's been absolutely disgusting, right? Every time we see SRG really disgusting man when he's not doing too well. And honestly, I can make the same comparison with Dyron from RRQ. I think RRQ put an amazing fight here. The primer of SRG OG Esports with Cram to get those battle spells out, then let the super play happen. He kind of tenderizes his opponents, so when you see the showmaker himself just end up with Yums coming in with the Tsunami Slam, it's just perfect.
Yeah, 13-1 and 8 in that game 2 really helped set the tone for SRG heading into game number 3, which yet again, even though Cram played a little bit more of a quiet role in this game 3, it was the over-respect by RRQ and over-focus on him that allowed the X-Borg and then eventually the, I believe it was the Claude that they were with, or was it the Claude that they were with, to be able to operate freely because Cram demanded so much attention from RRQ.
I mean, just overall, if Cram has a good game, and I think it was not this last game, but game number 4, Gideon's going, why are you guys ganking the EXP lane? That's why they're ganking the EXP lane, because you give Cram a good game, you give all 5 team members a good game, and I think both teams started to understand that as those games move forward, but SRG were just able to deliver with it.
Yeah, I literally couldn't believe that. 2v3, somehow Dyron dies there? That's like, what? Why? How?
Why?
What happened?
Yeah, and I think that the series went on, especially that game number 5. It's like, we just got to see the constant recalibration by SRG.
3-1.
Even Stormy acknowledged in the interview. What happened in that game number 4, it wasn't miscom or anything, it was just pure mechanics. They messed up on some key abilities. They ended up giving the double kill, so it validated our theory, which that game 5 draft that SRG used was more of them just going, it was more of the first 3 minutes. We could have handled the lead up to the first turtle better, and they did, and then they were able to shine in that game 5.
They were like, run it back one more time, coach.
I think so much of it comes back to what Gideon was saying, where, you know, I was more on board on the draft, but I think it did prove that in game, that's what really came down. Who could mechanically achieve these things better? In some of the games we saw RQ loss, we saw Ren's missing a few skills here and there. I think in the last one, a few feathered airstrikes were not connecting. So I think in the end, SRG just played the better game, I would say. And even some of the games they won, like you said, recalibrated, whether it was in draft, whether it was in game. But overall, I think SRG definitely deserved that game 5 win.
Yeah, and what I like about the series is not just because of the action of what happened in game. Heading into this, we were already touting this to be a crazy chess match in terms of the drafts happening. I know we have chess happening in another venue here in the Boulevard right now, but we were getting our own chess experience with the drafts, and with SRG showing things like Beatrix getting picked up in game number 5 as the 4th pick on the red side, the X board coming out of the last pick as their jungler for game number 3. SRG being able to pull that off, I feel like that's a heat check to the rest of the teams, especially to Team Spirit or ONIC, whoever they're going to be going up against, because they're not afraid to show cards.
Yeah, they're really not afraid to show cards. And I think that coming into this particular form, I'm hoping that, you know, the RRQ fans are not going to be too harsh on their team, because we know how they are like every single international. Because again, it was a beautiful game of MLBB.
Nice,
and I think this needs to be the standard everyone is looking to hit.
5 minutes niya. Onix PS ka TS ka ba?
Tier drafts. Only these two teams, when they fight each other, we see the best of both.
Game la. Silo
We got to hear from Stormy, but now we have to hear from Toy from RRQ with a turnout.
We're backstage here after that match loss against SRG.
Toy, what the fuck is wrong with you, man? What the fuck is wrong with you, bro?
Talk us through what's going on in your brain right now. What's happening?
Apa?
Sekarang lagi mikirin apa?
Nggak ada sih, lagi mikirin buat kedepannya lagi ya, MPL nanti.
Okay, so he's not really thinking about anything right now. He's just focusing on MPL. So coming into this, it was supposed to be a revenge match. Harusnya ini menjadi match balas dendam untuk RRQ melawan SRG. Tapi kali ini kalah lagi. Apakah SRG mungkin punya sesuatu yang kita nggak tahu? Do you think that SRG knows something about RRQ that we don't?
Kalau gue lihat sih SRG ya main kayak biasanya, jago gitu. Cuman kalau dari kitanya kayak kebanyakan mistake sih tadi.
Okay, jadi so Toy mentioned that he feels that SRG played as well as they could, but it was the mistakes that were made by RRQ that eventually made this loss happen. So, do you have any regrets picking SRG here?
Apa?
Ada ini nggak rasa regret nggak pilih SRG untuk first phase knockouts untuk RRQ?
Nggak ada sih. Sebelumnya juga
ID Onyx tuh
dia aja sama draft pick sama strategi kita.
Okay, so no regrets. He still thinks that it's okay. Do you have any message now in the fans in the building at home watching RRQ?
ID Onyx tuh dumlay.
Apa?
Message untuk fans.
Ya buat Kingdom, makasih lah udah dukung kita, apalagi yang udah datang ke sini jauh-jauh. Jadi
Lebayang padros Inupisa.
Udah ngecewain kalian.
Lebayang padros ya.
Thank you so much. You may go back to your manager. Thank you, Toy. It's an emotional day right now. Obviously, the key crushings will still be happening, so we're gonna come back very, very soon, and hopefully they can come back stronger on their next international. We're throwing it back to the studio.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Eterna, and you could see there, like, I feel like Toy is like compartmentalizing a bit. Like MSC's done instantly. He's already thinking about the next league. The Indonesian Pro League starts in.
Mo language sama na ito di translator da kata tre. Simple stay ni emoji ito hindi. Ado ni translator yaw tri do.
I mean, we need to set better examples for why the Kingdom has some of the best fan bases in the world. They are loyal. We truly withstand the test of time, and I think RRQ fans out there, it's time to turn that hate into support. Make sure that these boys are ready the next time they meet at an international.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. I think that's I think so many teams that make it to this top 8 spot are still amazing teams. So many fans just want to see gold, but just to get here right now, it is number 8 in the world. It is a statement in itself. But SRG does take the win, and I think that has to also be a statement in itself, because I'm really excited to see how they do up against the next teams that they'll be facing.
Yeah, with the defending champions of MSC moving forward, we now look at the brackets. Remind us who joins them. You have Team Liquid, the champions of the Philippines. You have ONIC Indonesia, the champions of Indonesia. While now it's between the champions of EECA and the runner-ups of the Philippines. But for defending world champions, ONIC Philippines, to see who SRG will face. It seems like as we get closer and closer to the grand finals, the bracket is looking more like what a lot of people expect. champions of their respective regions. But now it's going to be up to the defending world champs to stop a potential plot twist in the making. Team Spirit have been on an absolute tear. Will they be able to stop the rise of the Dragons of EECA? Or will they falter, and will the plot twist of the century happen? I'm so excited for the next series, which will be happening when we come back.
Whoosh! Berkabe ne nungai taba male yam satpe. Khangdi. Ai ga sididi yam kaino ina kaino tawra ga lai. Ai ko je phone ka sabe. Yam satpe. Kaino si 2 minute 3 minute ki matong da hawrani ko ngai ko ko. Ai si yeng ki ko sapra sapta yeng ki ko. Aige sida di chapti hai sound sira yara bhi aun khara sound di yar ba kamai tau ke yara ba keno tau ba gine ai na ngasai keno ge ai gi keno to si microphone gi to tap tang ge le khalu ba ine ba clone ni sidi lau ba ba lau ma me o si metro gi skin du rai ja oh metro ki skill akane tu sira nice trophy si dia pane is easy na kang dep panel gi sidi ano howjiti kainoga kari
Indonesia as well as ONIC Philippines, which is going to be your opponent.
Ikong, time over. You want ONIC Philippines? All right.
Okay.
Philippines. All right.
King Kong. Do you expect Team Spirit to pick you?
Not really. I thought RRQ or maybe Team Liquid PH is going to pick us.
We chose ONIC Philippines because, in our opinion, they're not as strong as Indonesia from what we have seen, and we are more confident to go up against them.
It's not like huge difference, you know. They both so strong teams, but we just don't have normal choices, so we just choose a little bit different teams. That's it.
How do you think of this matchup?
Very fun match and exciting.
Siya.
Liquid Bomba. Let's eat again in desert.
In one of the most surprising twists, the reigning world champs will now face off the Rising Dragons in an elimination match for their first knockouts match. The throne shakes. Can ONIC PH silence the doubts, or will Team Spirit ignite a new era? That is the questions on everyone's heads. I'm seeing a lot of Filipinos in online comment sections suddenly proclaiming the Kid Bomba's Filipino for what he did, for allowing a PH Grand Finals to happen, but also respecting Team Spirit for just picking ONIC right away.
I mean, Kid Bomba's about as Filipino as I am, and I am pretty Filipino, so... saying.
I think that it's interesting that he wanted to go in this particular manner, but we all heard that interview, right? We all heard him just go like, hey, you know, our teams are looking a little weaker compared to Indonesia. Which is
Philippines is looking a little weaker compared to Indonesia. Redmar.
I think he said ONIC Philippines. I don't want, like, I miss out. I didn't want to laser focus too much on Philippines.
He definitely said not as good as Indonesia. That's all I know. Yep. If I was you, if I was a three-time world championship region. Four, exactly. I don't know. I wouldn't take that, Redmar.
I'd be fuming. I
don't know how it feels to be a four-time.
Team Liquid or ONIC ID?
ONIC ID. Confirming how much more Filipino you are than me. It seems like you're more offended by the statement than I am. I'm chill, man. I'm just here. It's like, all right, cool. We'll see it in game. We'll see it in the result. You know, it'll be all good.
Yeah, every single time. I don't know. I think that it's interesting that Team Spirit has, like, I feel like if they had faster games, they could be changed in the order. Things would have shaken up a little bit more differently. Right? At least for Team Spirit, I feel like they're truly they found themselves in not only their play style, but the way that they kind of have the overlook in the game.
Yeah, we have to acknowledge Team Spirit are still undefeated heading into this. They went 2-0. They were in the 2-0 bracket. They performed incredibly well in MSC, while ONIC PH has been shaky. So maybe since Eterna and Rose got to catch up with Kelra, we'll be able to understand their mindset a little bit more heading into this series.
Hey everyone, we're backstage now with Kelra as well as Rose to aid in the translation, right? Why are you guys laughing?
I wanted to just go to the restroom and I was cornered by Kelra.
Okay, we'll get this quick though. Okay, first and foremost, we weren't able to get your response to how things went up. How did you feel about Team Spirit choosing you before ONIC ID?
Yung pagpili sa amin ng Team Spirit, di ko talaga in-expect na pipiliin kami ng Team Spirit. Ang in-expect ko talaga nang pipili sa amin yung ano eh.
Mga kasi itong yararo ito, kang dito ka di, bro Manipur PUBG streamers, kanana, yay, ay nakan ge, streamer da. Streamer da di recha laire, dapandum laire.
Choose them. And amongst the internal discussion that ONIC Philippines had, they all thought it was RRQ that would be picking them because they could see the eagerness that RRQ wanted to get their revenge on ONIC PH.
Oh, interesting. So why did you think that it would be you guys? Because of the RRQ? But I mean, there were only two teams left, right? It was ONIC ID and you guys. So why did you think that you wouldn't be picked there?
Tingin ko kaya lang kami pinik ng Team Spirit dahil
inaasar
ko siya.
What did you say?
Yung wag sila mababa ng lower bracket kasi tatalunin namin sila.
Oh, he's
actually
teasing Kid Bomba, and he was saying like, don't ever drop to the lower bracket because if you do, I will beat you.
Film so stream Thai atu target di kainoga.
All right, with that, you have a message for Kid
Jonathan ga kainoga kanani hena haigi dunini adi reta go so competitive sanarami dana tokre dana adu target di kaino kari Jonathan ga kainoga mortal ga uji compete tawuga sa mane ba.
Absolute cinema. We're gonna close it there, heading over back to the studio.
Aduna फिर कोई स्ट्रीम बना करना था अगर था अगर मोदी competitive line लोग competitive में सेन करना नहीं है ना क्वाइट की है ना talented लाइव क्वाइट की है ना हाई बता रहा गद्दी that competitive scenario की दे आई खंग दे वो को नहीं दे कराना आई individual ना कराना है क्वाइट की है ना हाई के कोड की दे खंग दे but कनो streamer हाई बनी ना दपांडुम का रेचा करना ये नहीं बमाले हाई को
they are yet to get a win. A series win off of a Filipino team thus far in MSC or M Series. So if they can do that here, direction for ECA.
Yeah, it'll be a massive shift in the story of ECA, who has struggled against Filipino teams in multiple international tournaments, and of course a massive shift in expectations for this team who are entering MSC as the defending world champs after their M6 campaign. They are not the defending Philippines champions, as they did drop in the grand finals in the Philippines heading into this two-team liquid.
Pull this in, bro. Oh, pull that. Oh, to me,
good team. They're still really strong.
In pull, kanana kagre.
Fault people also for
RRQ na 68 later. Otherwise, SRG na kagi ba? Sala thorai masa.
I think that it's a similar scenario to SRG in this case, right? Where
ONIC PH 245 vote ni yung
run and drop into TLPH. That people are like a little, oh, I don't know whether this team is going to make it through. And then it's further enforced when they drop their games against Aurora. But it doesn't change the fact that this team is so mechanically talented, and why they're so together is what makes them dangerous in the first place.
Yeah, not only are they mechanically talented, but they are the super fan. They are in sync nonstop, great drafts. They're also one of the Filipino teams that's willing to bend the draft a little bit, pick outside the box here and there, and because they're so mechanically talented, it works.
Yeah, one of the reasons why we're seeing bans on Kagura is because Super Friends brought it up. So let's see if ONIC PH will continue to lynch onto their captain, onto their mid laner to bring out draft surprises. Well, for Team Spirit, they are as textbook as you can get in the scariest way possible. If RRQ are textbook, these guys are that 2+ more, because Hiko, Mania, and even One Shot have definitely stepped up even more since their M6 campaign in Malaysia last year.
Absolutely. I think, you know, Hiko, when he got the moniker Hiko Mania, definitely he has shown that he can play up on that stage. One Shot was still kind of trying to find himself, converting from that, like, I'm that monster pub player and I'll just beat you mechanically, to now I have to really think tactically, and there must be purpose in my movement if I want to be at the top level of professional play.
Yeah, my eyes have been on Hiko since before MSC of last year. I think when he first joined the roster.
PH, let's go. Yeah, man, I saw ONIC PH tani. Like siya. Atay kayo natin. ONIC PH tani.
Grown into an even stronger player. You know, reminds me of these young prodigies like Kelra, who come in very, very young. The thing about Hiko, though, he seems much more level-headed than what we see, and I almost want to see the savage come out of him a little bit. I need to see that energy come from him, because that's what we need to see, I think, if he's going to push past his boundaries.
Yeah, don't forget, Hiko Mania, one of the reasons why he got that name, he got a savage in the M6 World Championship.
Ako di bro, yung side ta. Ado di ONIC Tara. ONIC Tara. Welcome ONIC party.
Another young man who made a name for himself in his international debut is the man who was interviewed by Eterna. It was Kid Bomba.
We're now here backstage with Kid Bomba, all smiles. You feeling good?
Very good.
Very good. Can we ask why you're feeling very good?
I'm very excited for today.
Very excited for today. Now, funny thing is, you asked
I want the man in Noida.
The lower bracket because you will beat them. Is that true?
No.
Oh. What did you say?
Kero just said it as a joke, you know, when I was walking by. And then he said, don't go lower bracket or we will send you home.
Okay.
And I was like, hey, you sure? So yeah, that's the story.
Friendly banter. Yeah. But what do you actually feel coming to this match? Because you guys technically were the ones to pick them.
I feel super confident. I'm 100% sure that we can win today, as long as the confidence level of my team is the same as mine.
But is it? Are they feeling as confident as you?
I'll make sure that they feel.
He'll make sure that they will feel confident. A message perhaps to ONIC PH before your match.
Good luck. Have fun. Let's have a great game, and like Kelra said, absolute cinema.
Absolute cinema again. Heading over back to the studio.
Absolute cinema.
Kid Bomba with the posture, the confidence, as always, one of the most entertaining figures we have in global MLBB esports, and I like how he pushed on that point. He makes sure his team is as confident as he is that they can beat the reigning world champs.
I don't think people have seen Sawo in the back rooms just talking to his team, because he is serious. He's a true EECAN, some may say. Really giving that, you know, energy not only to the team, but to kind of put everybody in the right mindset. That's why I think this really is going to be absolute cinema, as they like to call it.
I definitely think every player on the side of Team Spirit, in terms of
absolute cinema,
in terms of what they bring to the table for their mentality is important. All of them bring something. You have the seriousness of Sawo. You have, the young mentality of Nico to the table. I think all of them supply something, and it's been a team that over the past few years.
Yeah, I mean this is the best way possible. He gets more experience. Kid Bomba just starts to exude like dad energy, like confident dad or uncle energy. Like he's going Filipino from Kid Bomba to like Dad Bomba or Uncle Bomba.
Uncle Bomba.
Uncle Bomba, I like that.
Couple more years.
Couple more years. Just a couple more years.
Uncle Bomba?
No. Oh no, he's Filipino, so he's Tito Bomba.
Kuya Bomba.
Kuya Bomba. All right, I'll go for Kuya Bomba.
It's good. I agree that this team is really grown up together, which is crazy, right? Because I think they're one of the few teams that have showed up consistently to internationals, and we've seen them not only change in roster, change with back management, change with organization, but legitimately grow up from a young
best of 5 ni adunay si match mga magsanagadto mali ba na kanada.
Truly aging like fine wine into his 20s.
Yeah. As we look from the XP lane to the mid lane, we go to the other side of the map to the gold lane. As Kelra, the gold standard, will have to see how he will fare against Hiko Mania, a young man who took the world by storm in last year's M6 World Championship and who has so far had a statistically better performance than the gold standard this MSC.
Definitely a better standard this MSC, though we could argue that the stats might be a little skewed. We know that Kelra got dropped, had a couple more games, which means a couple more stats, a couple more kills. But either way, this is a matchup I'm very excited for because Kelra has proved himself time and time again, and Hiko, for me, is still kind of on that road, and getting a win here against Kelra kind of finally does put Hiko in that position. Like, yes, the hype is building around him, but for me, he's still not yet at that, that gold standard point. And beating Kelra here puts him there.
Yeah, I got to talk about it with a bunch of other people before the day started, where it feels like what we're seeing is a slightly different Kelra. We aren't seeing so far the M6 gold standard Kelra. I feel like this is my hot take of the day. What happened in the grand finals of MPL Philippines Season 15? Where he got picked off by Sanji on the low E that eventually led to ONIC PH's loss in the 7th game of the grand finals has gotten to Kelra a bit. Because we're not seeing the savage side of Kelra as much as we used to. We're seeing a very calculated Kelra, but it feels like at times we're seeing more of that savage coming out of OHEB from Team Liquid Philippines.
Well, let's look at the opposite side of this, right? I think it's important that not only is it, maybe it could be getting to them, or maybe the rest of the world has to keep up with Kelra at some point. That as the gold standard, competitive levels need to reach his level if we want to stand a chance, because I don't think anybody wants to replay M6 all over again, where PH basically kind of washed the entire world.
Well, real quick, Trex, you have I'll give you a few seconds here. What do you think about Kelra, man?
I think there's still possibilities there. I like what you said. Every time he hits a dash, is he wincing? Is he like, yeah? Is there some PTSD still there? I don't know, but the gold price does continue to go up, and if Kelra wants to be that standard, he's going to need to keep up himself.
Inflation.
ONIC PH versus Team Spirit, the champions of the Philippines, the reigning world champions against the champions of EECA, who have been flying high and rising faster than ever before. Is it a plot twist, or will it go as expected? Let's throw you on over to the stage to welcome our teams.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, and boy, we still have one more quarterfinal, but our kickoff for today, Rose, was incredible. What was that at Game 5?
Oh my, that was one heck of a series. We have witnessed 3 quarterfinals games since we started the knockout stages yesterday, and oh my goodness, that was the first full series, and whew, I just gotta say, I am super excited for this last one.
Yeah, absolutely. It really changes the pace, because yesterday we got 2 best of 5s that were 3-0 washouts, right? Today we got already match 1, game 5, everything great. Game 5 kind of mid, but the rest real good, right? Excited through the whole thing, so I'm really hoping we get more of that same action here at MSC for our final quarterfinal. Speaking of which, our players are ready. Let's bring out our teams. Joining us on stage, it's Team Spirit! The MCC champions remain undefeated at MSC 25, not dropping a single game to cruise into knockouts. Powerhouse regions do not even flinch the EECA representatives, looking to carve their names in MLBB history. With Wunderkind Hiko at the helm, can Team Spirit show their wisdom in picking the reigning world champions to face off against?
And of course, Team Spirit is coming in from the upper bracket. The reigning world champions were their chosen opponents. It is now time to call on the Super Family hailing from the Philippines. It's ONIC time. It is ONIC Philippines. The world has doubted ONIC Philippines' ability after facing defeat to the now eliminated Aurora Gaming. However, after sweeping Area 77 and Homeboys, the Super Family is showing that their bond is now tighter than ever. And now they look to prove that Team Spirit has picked their poison. They are ready to hammer the nail to the coffin.
I'm really looking forward to this. So please, Team Spirit, ONIC, you may place your keys. Gentlemen on both sides, Spirit, ONIC, go ahead, all yours. Place your keys, take your seats. And I have one more question for you, my wonderful co-host, Rose. Is this game gonna give us absolute cinema?
To know if this match will give us an absolute cinema, there is only one way to find out, and that is showing it to the Land of Dawn.
I really wish we had a one expletive clause in our contract just to show you how fish-sticking excited I am for this series, for Spirit and ONIC. You can hear the fans. Everyone's rowdy, everyone's loud. There are a lot of Spirit fans on board as well, alongside Super fans. I can't wait. I can't wait.
It's going to be yucking great, my friend. It's so insane how these teams have kind of molded into this position. The fact that Team Spirit were the one who says, yes, bring on the challenge, already sets the tone for this game.
Yeah, I think that's something that EECA has embraced non-stop. They're not a region. Team Spirit is not a team to be scared of the challenge, who always wants to pick the weaker team or is praying for the weaker group or anything like that. They're a region that is ready to roll with the big dogs.
All right, here's some keys to victory for ONIC PH. Full mid prio and snowball early.
Pick Byron, pick to Byron.
To make the place, we saw Cram go series MVP in the last one, and don't show all your cards just yet.
I disagree with the last one. They gotta show something, especially if they're on the back foot. It happens time and time again. I think their playbook is a lot deeper than Coach Why Not lets on.
I think, yeah, I agree. I think this is the time to show those cards. Well, let's take a look at the keys to victory for Team Spirit. Force King Kong out of his comfort zone. Exploit ONIC PH's outdated draft pattern and utilize versatility and pave the way for Hiko.
Don't worry.
Yeah, I agree with first and third. The second one, dang.
What's going on here, Remar?
Wait, I feel like the Filipinos are actually on that boat, because a lot of the Filipinos online and on-site are mentioning that the drafting order of ONIC PH could be just a little bit sharper, a little bit more to terms with the current.
Let's go, ONIC. Let's go, ONIC.
We can discuss this a little bit further.
Let's go, ONIC.
News for y'all, and we want to thank you all for this. We have hit 3 million peak concurrent users and watching. Thank you so
3 million.
much. Redeem the code right now.
Keep it holding. Don't worry, guys. Keep it holding.
If you're not going to be scanning the QR code, redeem the case sensitive, so you have to follow it as it is, into your in-game clients. Let's see if we can go past.
Anytime
quarterfinals heading into the semifinals of the knockout stage. ONIC versus Team Spirit. I think we have to start talking about the draft now, and I will want to focus onto the EXP lane first, because we saw the impact that it had for the first series. Because as we've known for a while now, EXP laners sort of like share that burden of being a roamer alongside the actual roamer of the team. And I feel like if they want to alleviate a little bit of the pressure that's been on Brusco, who's been somewhat struggling in the early game, they need Kirk to help.
Let's go. Who they ban Arlord. Okay, Team Spirit ban Arlord. Let's go.
As ONIC PH, I feel like they have pretty standard EXP laners. Like, we've seen, unfortunately for Kid Bomba, it's not like he's gotten heroes that allow him to make crazy plays. I think, for the most part, he's very fundamentally solid, and the same can be said for Kirk. They always have to play weak side a majority of the time, and even in winning lane matchups, we don't see them completely take over the map in comparison to like Dyron and Cram.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of Kid Bomba, this is another team that we only got to see 4 games play. We saw a Phoveus, a CC, and a Badong from the side of Kid Bomba. And then even for Sawo as well, we see a lot of pickoff picks. He played Cho his last 2 games against Homeboy, and then it was Gatot and Kalea. So 3 of those 4 picks, pickoff plays. So far, I feel like Team Spirit, we've seen a very similar draft overall from all of their games.
Yeah, so let's see if maybe, alternatively, what if that's something ONIC PH is going to use in this? Knowing that you have a very clear set of hero choices for the EXP lane roam, and a clear philosophy. It seems like what Team Spirit is walking into this MSC is what ONIC PH has utilized before M6, during M6, and the run of championships, especially in SPS earlier this year.
I don't know.
Tempo-breaking control for XP and Rome.
That I can get behind, because the way that we've seen these teams
Manipur
want to play the game is, if
style
in their composition, they will fall on their swords to play that particular side. We're playing for late game, and we need to kind of slow down. That's what TS and ONIC PH look to do. If we need to kind of tempo break and force the advantage when we do have it, both teams are notorious.
YSS para ka
So far, it's kind of strange because I feel like a lot of teams have kind of strayed away from this Uranus, but not ONIC PH.
Ooh, YSS hikuna na paigre. What the fuck?
And now the TS has that first pick already locked in. The Yi Shun Chin slips through the draft.
Now, something for ONIC PH in terms of the XP lane. 4 of their games in the group stage were won with the Phoveus. I think it could definitely be something we see up front from them. Definitely a possibility. YSS as well could help against that, so I think it's something we want to keep our eyes open. We saw how much mid lane was priored last game. Do we think we see maybe, you know, Farsa?
YSS hana paigre na.
Farsa, Phoveus, potential combo, but they go for the 1-1 which is left open. They do get the Phoveus, but now how well is Sunset Lover versed in the Selena? A pick
1-1 ka Phoveus ka ni paigre
the YSS
low
I totally agree. And I do think that it does supplement the YSS like a decent amount, especially in the earlier stages of the game where you kind of want him to like it works like a jawhead, right? Speed up that farm, get him to those higher levels as quick as possible, double his goal.
Ado Yushin
draft is kind of strange, right? Baxia gets let through, Wanwan gets let through, Ishin Shin gets let through, right? And I'm still big question mark for me whether Baxia is still gonna get considered, get picked up here from either TS or ONIC PH.
Team Spirit though leans towards the Moskov and Juicing tracks.
I think something that I just, on a side note, what's so great about the meta right now is it feels like every 2 teams we see go against each other, there's a slightly different ban order, a slightly different pick order, and there's no cemented just yet, at least like for 10 heroes, you know, it's always a lot of change. Only EXP that we're barely seeing ever get picked at all is insane to me, but is exciting to me, right? So on PH now, do they lock in their mid laner right now? Do they play safe? Kimmy's gone, Farza still up, or do they go for their jungle? Because with the differences,
jungle pai ki
gonna get banned against one of those
jungle pai
Hayabusa is a pretty good option overall this time, but they could good option if any. Still wide open, which I think even better than the Hayabusa, especially when you're up against the Yishin Shin.
Yeah, now ONIC Philippines though really needs to draft a strong Roman mid that can help the Fanny defend her side of the jungle. When you have a Juicing and a YSS on the side of Team Spirit, you're really the rotation here of King Kong. So I think Team Spirit might want to look into banning out either a Badang or Gata Kacha away from Brusco, 2 roamers who in this scenario supplement the Fanny very well.
Ooh. Oh, but they also have to consider anything that kind of falls between the lines, right? Cho, number one, decently good. I think Badang is also a pretty good call since we're not 100% on what exactly the Phoveus has to play into, right?
Yeah.
The CC is still up for grabs, and then we've got a lot of problems to kind of fulfill, right? Do we care more about Kirk in his lane, or is he going to play weak side, right? And I think this final ban from ONIC PH will predetermine that. TS, on the other hand, mid laners. You got to get rid of the mid laners right now. You got to make sure that mid lane does not have priority so that we can protect ourselves from the pressure that Fanny may apply to either side lane.
So what do we take out in mid lane on Team Spirit? What do we ban? I mean, obviously, Farza, Yves, ZTN are all options. Those are the hot picks right now. I'm still flabbergasted with this draft right now. The fact that so many picks have been let through, or at least that these teams seem okay to be let through, and we're about to watch a completely different game than what we saw in the past series.
Yeah, I feel like this Eve ban by Team Spirit is very good. They're looking to take control early to mid through skirmishes. That's one of the reasons they want to take away an Eve, because you are putting priorities on
what the fuck is that?
And invades into the purple buff of King Kong, but Dang gets banned by ONIC Philippines instead of picking it up themselves.
Yep, so they're willing to say, Kirk, you're going to play weak side here, right? We don't want to have TS be able to hold on to such strong hits. Selena is going to be the inevitable ban for the side of TS as well, trying to make sure that, hey, at least for this family, she's not going to be able to kind of keep up with how fast
hello, lawyer. Very long time no see. I'm back. Welcome to the stream, bro. SRG. Welcome.
Through as well, which
Mako no idea, bro. Mako no idea. Kamay no idea, no. Kauriro kayo no kamay to
the comforts of Sao. I think we might end up seeing Sao play a different hero than we're used to seeing.
The Cho's gone.
Yeah.
They could go for Franco, something of that nature. Ruby could always be slotted into EXP or something like that for Team Spirit. Even Ruby Rome, I know it's not popular, but it's a possibility.
I wonder.
Oh, classics.
Yeah, they go for classic responses to the Fanny 1-1 and some of the folks I'm trying to remember, but okay, they go for the glue as their solid frontline presence. This Team Spirit draft is very well built for their main backline, for their YSS, their Moscow, and their Juicin.
And a little bit of underestimation of the Fanny, right? They have a couple of ways, but not guaranteed. And that, ONIC, they're ready to rumble.
It's literally, I swear I was about to guess it.
This could work. Yeah, and it's undefeated so far in MSC.
Yeah, and it's come in clutch so many times. A very strong pick, especially in terms of what they want to bring. A little bit maybe weaker in the laning phase, just like in the first few minutes. But as the game gets moving, ONIC PH to be in a great position.
We could see a lot of skirmishes early on. You pick up the Faramis, that's a sign to the other team that you are willing to fight. Once that Faramis is level 4, Brigida and Naisu, please take us into game number 1 for second series of the day.
We are amped up and ready. Thank you so much.
Yeah, let's go.
We're ready for another 5 games.
Let's go.
I'll tell you that much. Welcome to the English desk here. I'm Naisu, and this is Brigida to bring it the action between Team Spirit and ONIC Philippines. Who will it be? Brigida is my
witness.
Is my backup. She's my witness. What do you think? Is this enough to deal with King Kong's Fanny?
It does feel like they just decided to directly respond to whatever was brought out here by ONIC PH, but I feel like it ultimately lies in how well they're able to play around this Yi Sun Shin, because it's going to be a very crucial part in this entire piece that Team Spirit does want to play in this game, because majority of the damage is going to rely on him, especially for those early skirmishes, as pointed out by our panelists, because we're expecting a lot of those to come in the first few minutes of the game.
Yeah, I think this is a very, Trek said it.
Let's go, King Kong.
Like,
my bet is on you, man.
Flavor that we're already seeing in game 1
King Kong, let's go.
Here, which is great.
King Kong, let's go.
And we also have another debut hero to MSC, and we've had so many picks. I'm not sure exactly the number we're at. I know it's like 87 or something like that. Here's a play though on Kirk.
Tyrant's Revenge towards the XP laner, but Brusco's also there to provide some sort of assistance. And for Kid Bomba, you generally have to play it carefully for the glue in this game, because the Faramis came in at the perfect time, you know?
Yeah, the fairness is great. A lot of teams kind of sleep on this pick still, but nonetheless, it's very valuable. You know, the NetherRealm's great. It's got a 100% right now. There's a couple times that we've seen it pop up. We can see a whole lot of common emblem over here for Team Spirit to go ahead and play around this. Again, you're going to have to maybe just set things up but also you can rely on the fact that Kid Bomba is on this glue. And like we saw from the previous series, glue or really any of our XP laners right now, the main heroes that are picked up, to a lot of these games in and out. So this first objective is going to be the focus here. They're going to already poke back and forth, pulling Sao back, but they fight for space around the turtle.
Yeah, they've zoned out one shot really well, but the fight is still going on. King Kong.
Tanaw ne, King Kong tanaw ne. Tanong ne. Sabas kufraw na hard krito. Magi kang toroy hatabi ni Berani.
Kirk jumping in with the infernal pursuits, but this might be the time to disengage. The SOD is gonna land, and it might be time for Hiko to go in. If he does decide to join the Team Spirit will have full confidence that they're able to take it on, even without Hiko.
Great comms there. You know, Team Spirit, I feel like Hiko probably was like, should I follow through? But, you know, it was the call from Team Spirit, and Kid Bomba's like, no, we at least got another kill, or we got one of the kills here that we needed, plus the objective. So that gives them that little bit of advantage now. And again, it's just one of those things that kind of can have the factor where it builds up compound interest here throughout the game. But nonetheless, you just want to farm up. If Hiko has this opportunity to just farm up on the Moskov, that's where we've seen the capabilities of turning games around later on. He doesn't have to just join these fights, even if he lands a Spear Destruction. That's completely fine. But even then, King Kong getting the kill himself, giving him a little bit of a amp up time here on the Fanny. So far, though, it's interesting, Breda, because everybody still gets super excited for a Fanny.
Yeah.
And you know, he's gonna, I mean, this is Kid Bomba. He should be fine.
He should be. Gets the mount on Kirk, brings him under the turret as well. And that for this particular instance, King Kong and Kirk might play it a bit more safer now because the SOD is also there. Kirk is beacon in. Coming in from Sunset Locker. Gets to find the backup and the kill to Kirk.
Man, oh man, I didn't know if Hiko would follow up again, but again, that's threat enough. I landed the spear. You don't know if he's going to follow through or not, but still, the glue
It's such a suspense factor here for...
The spear or the glue?
The spear. Like,
I was going to say, glue is also suspenseful.
That's true. Both, you know. I mean, somehow, yeah. But the SOD landed twice.
It
never went in.
He doesn't... Everybody's like paying attention to that. Like, does he follow through or not? So... Team Spirit has to because King Kong's got to get his own purple buff.
Whoa, Sao didn't go in with the Tyrant's Revenge anymore. Didn't have to. There's the knockup from the Lantern Flare and Kid Bomba. He rides Kirk. This time knocking up multiple members. But coming in from the sides. Will he be able to find a kill? Weber's one shot still alive. Gets to use the Traceless to keep himself safe. Kid Bomba mounts onto another member. That's going to be Super Friends. But he will have to walk away.
He's jumping in. He goes forward, but there's no dice there. You know, you can't. I thought they would stay a little bit longer, put some pressure there, but hey, Team Spirit gets themselves a 2.5k lead. They've got a couple more kills in favor plus an objective. And this is just gold lane 1v1 for this 5 minutes, which is great because, again, coming into this matchup, we were comparing the two gold laners here with Hiko and, of course, Kelra. And, yeah, I think you need more time to see exactly the hype build-up for Hiko. The Hiko mania we talked about back when we got to see him get that Savage over an M6. But right now, it's just him and Kelra holding down the gold lane.
It's going to take some time, especially for these two gold laners we're seeing right now. A lot of the focus, particularly in the past few games that we've seen here in MSC, definitely lies in the mid trio and in how well they're able to manage that mid lane. But now King Kong, it's counted here by Kid Bomba. One shot trying to apply the damage, and even right under the turret, they'll be successful in that pickoff.
And that is just how annoying a glue can be.
Always on it. Team always on it.
Making it, yeah, a flying fanny, making you just have a hell of a time. And then you complement that with a Kufra. So they're going to put the pressure on the purple buff. And this is where it starts to really hurt. If you are playing a Fanny and you fall behind like this, even down to the purple buff not being available for you, it puts you in a really difficult spot.
Yeah, and to be fair, I feel like Sao hasn't been the one to go in first majority of the time. Even when there were moments that it felt like he could go in with a Tyrant's Revenge and find a setup onto at least 2 members of ONIC PH, it felt like
Turtle ahumamoy na loy lawre. Yes na Turtle am talawang amdre si di.
The key members of Team Spirit, at least for now, because they still acknowledge the fact that ONIC PH they can still go in at any moment in time. King Kong can still go in from any angle he wants to. And so all their priority lies now or falls into keeping one shot safe and handing over the snowball, which clearly is working because he's already 1,500 gold ahead of King Kong.
This is one of those situations where ONIC Philippines has to figure an answer out for, you know, dealing with that setting potential that we're seeing from Sao or Kid Bomba's kind of front tankiness that the glue gives you. But also, eventually, how do we get to one shot? How do we get to Hiko later on once he's activated for those fights? That's the biggest question here. Now, again, you can play around the utility. They have a fair miss. You can play around that King Kong should have some decent damage on Fanny throughout the game. But as we're seeing, even for King Kong, he's having a hard time cabling in and out of these fights. You know, it's not the easiest for him to do. And you take a look at the items here, you can see the difference in the gold lane. Mind you, a lot of this has just been 1v1. So Hiko is actually with a lead against Kalra here.
And even the junglers. Both junglers and are 1,000 gold ahead of their counterparts in ONIC PH, and now they're trying to disrupt even their attempt to take the purple buff. King Kong successfully secures it with the retribution. But jumps in, and there goes another realm at least to keep them a bit more safe. But the Tyrant's Rage catching everyone from ONIC PH, and another Tyrant's Revenge onto Super Prince, handing over a triple to One Shot.
One shot, 3 kills, gets a triple and makes it work. And that's all, again, putting pressure on the purple buff is all they have to do, because they know that now ONIC Philippines is in this position where it's like, we gotta go ahead. Yes, he was able to go ahead and secure it with a retribution, but again, their team is in this position that they're going to be forced to fight because of the way this lineup works for Team Spirit. So now they find themselves with a very healthy lead. You know, I'm surprised with some of the positioning here, some of the decisions from ONIC Philippines to go and force this, you know, force these situations where they're up front to get information, to do what they can. But I think they know it. They have to just give this Lord up. They have so much ground to cover here.
Now that ONIC PH are playing defensively, huge responsibility is definitely going to fall into the hands of Super Prince. Right now, he doesn't have access to his ultimate.
Iruza bro, kasi bro, Iruza ye. Ay, Iruza talaga nailay do.
But yeah, the way that he doesn't have the Purify too is going to be a big problem if he's the one that's targeted first by Team Spirit, especially by Sao here, because he's the one who needs to kinda buy a bit more time for his team. He's the only one capable of doing that, because so many things have to be set in place for ONIC PH and their lineup to work, and not even their attempts to manage the right, because every time King Kong tries to go out with a Fanny, there's just a them to go any further.
Yeah, this is great. This Lord is eventually going to go down here, but does get a charge up on the top. Sao's charging up himself. I don't think they want to force this fight. They're going to clear out the waves here. They hold on to these base turrets. So even with this kind of lead, Team Spirit doesn't want to overextend into this.
Yeah.
Just taking it through this. King Kong takes some damage. He'll be fine. He's just trying to clear out these waves, but they will lose that holy defense shield now on the bottom side. So Team Spirit has pretty much accomplished what they set out to do on this first Lord push.
The thing is, if the Kufra, if Sao just shows ONIC PH that he's charging, then that's just basically to threaten them to be very conscious of where they're going to position themselves, because it's not necessarily a surprise attack that they're planning to do. It's just another form of probably zoning ONIC PH out, and at least for them, they've been able to defend all their base turrets. It's still intact, but all their holy shields, they're gone, and we're only approaching the 11-minute mark. No one from ONIC PH is actually safe. There are just so many ways for Team Spirit to gather information, to gather vision, and to just zone them over. Okay, Mountain Shocker nearly landed on King Kong, but at least they're able to keep themselves safe.
You're just seeing, I mean, right now, this is such a tough game to get back and turn around if you're on the Philippines. And you don't have any other option if you're King Kong.
Thank you for bro Isorjit for the 10 rupees GP. Hello lawyer guys.
But King Kong's gonna be, and that's all he can do.
Hello Nupino Dupirambo.
Because I mean, look at this. They have nothing. ONIC Philippines has no turrets, no objectives, one kill. That's it. The one. Surmountable steps that the Philippines, and the only person that can do that is King Kong. Now we have seen through MSC games 10k ahead turn around.
Wait, they actually go after Kirk, but there's a decent amount of damage. Damage is just enough. The round is immediately taken out. Kelra is currently godlike on this Yisun shit. It's only Super Prince and King Kong who will try to defend and clear the way, but there's
hello bro, hello. Kelra
but the base.
I don't have no minute trying to the game, Jibo. I don't have no Kelra
with the minions, and now they might actually want to go for more. There goes the Ghost Bursters coming in from Super Prince too, but now it's a retreat for Team Spirit.
So close to ending the game there for Team Spirit. Nonetheless, they'll go ahead, grab the Lord. King Kong might actually get his purple buff here now. Now, will that be enough? They're facing down a massive gold deficit. This is so far behind for ONIC Philippines that Team Spirit can go ahead and force a fight onto this next push with this Lord. They are completely where they need to be. Nobody saw it in that last fight. If they decide, they almost just have free pickings to decide to who they want to go on. It doesn't matter if it's Brusco or if it's Kirk. These supposedly tanky heroes are not tanky enough to deal with this kind of damage that is coming through from Team Spirit. So they have to play the macro game here. I'm not sure what ONIC Philippines wants to do here. Cut the waves if they can, but eventually you got to get ready for that base defense.
Yep. That's going to be the next big step here for ONIC PH. They have a lot of catching up to do, especially considering the 12k gold lead that's currently in the hands of Team Spirit. But Team Spirit are going to take this step by step. A surprise setup coming in from Sao, but there's the flicker and the Nether Realm. Brusco jumps in with the AOG, but barely makes it out alive! King Kong gets bursted down. There's the crossbow attack coming in as well from Keller, but the damage doesn't seem to be enough. Let's and that's game number 1 for Team Spirit.
Team Spirit had
smiles on their faces coming into game 1.
What a
dominant performance for the first game in the series. I'd have to say, you know, Bomba said, he said, I'm feeling 100% confident. Hopefully my team is as well, and it looks like they're all on the same page here.
Yeah, Kid Bomba in one shot literally feel like the weight and boat right now for Team Spirit and the way they're able to establish this of a performance. And mind you, this is against the Super Panda. They were the ones who seem to be a lot more in sync, or in a way, it's just inevitable that you force out these reactions from ONIC PH because you kind of already shut down majority of the factors or the conditions that they need to pull off in order for their lineup to work, which is something I feel that the panel has constantly echoed as well. So there's a lot of back and reset to do if you're ONIC PH.
100%. I can't wait to see what the panel has to say about this game.
Super Prince Filipino said here in this panel, Team Spirit are just way too good. It was clear what they wanted to do. Invade.
Super Prince
and I actually like what you told us, Trex, that Team Spirit just looked so much cleaner and more in sync compared to ONIC PH.
Yeah, I think we saw it in the early game. ONIC PH looked for a couple of
lineup
down.
6 lineup na tro. Untuk piramban na te baton la ani kuy na lawyer sa. Te mamangi untuk piramban to hype ni. Untuk piramban dum laini nang napanakan na sila gasul nang napanakan na ama panggera ama pangwegera. Untuk piramban dum laini.
They are going to capitalize.
Yeah, it's kind of disgusting. That's why I say that Team Spirit really have found themselves in these games. Their execution is top-notch. Their mechanics are creme de la creme. And I think that right now, a lot of the EDC fans are cheering for them for a very good reason as to
ONIC PH na semi-final
ONIC PH is struggling against them in the early game. What will it look like coming down the road? I think the adjustments for ONIC PH, not even in the draft, is we just have to play a little bit better.
At
this point, it becomes a whole point of specific pain points about the draft. Again, the bed that you chose to lie in, and you just mess up a lot of the early game executions. That's a big struggle. And if this trend continues in the early game,
ONIC PH needs a better draft day. Yeah, man.
Swept because Team Spirit don't look like they are gonna slip up. They know their timer so well. Trexie also told us behind the scenes that one shot has just been fantastic for the first 5-6 minutes of this game.
I mean, for practically the whole game, the guy went, I'm pretty sure, deathless. This is why maybe you don't give the YSS over. Maybe it's one shot. Who knows? Maybe that is one of those picks that needs to stay on the ban list unless you're going to get it for yourself. Again, maybe it's true. Maybe ONIC PH right there did feel a little outdated in draft. We're willing to do some things for the fanny that maybe weren't worth it. So yeah, we'll see exactly how things go. Take a look at this. Hiko, 944 the young monster.
I don't think it's outdated in terms of how they're drafting. I think there's some very clear ideas from ONIC PH, which is what ONIC PH is known to do, right? Because of what we knew from last year in the World Championship, just perfect at execution, even if your chances are extremely slim with a singular win con.
And now that becomes the biggest question for ONIC. What is going to be the next main win condition for King Kong? They picked that Fanny.
This is not RRQ, bro.
Wanted to be a win condition, but then it wasn't allowed to be played.
King Kong
will be in that game number 1 with how aggressive Team Spirit were just invading his jungle and freely doing so.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like he could barely do that even in the beginning. There was the Kid Bomba just kept catching him. One shot kept catching him. Even towards the end of the game, he would try to get on a Hiko, and Hiko was so clean at sidestepping, spearing him against the wall. You know, it just felt like King Kong couldn't play a game that game from start to finish. It was a dead start.
This is now where the alarm starts blaring if you are a fan of ONIC PH, acknowledged in the group stages, and we got to see it.
Okay.
One of the reasons why Team Spirit did really well was that they committed the first phase ban on the Lancelot right away. You take out the next best option for King Kong. We've seen in the past, not just here in MSC, but in the Philippines as well, the uncomfortability of ONIC playing around Fedrin and tanky junglers for King Kong.
Dang pa ba yaning de yaning gara noi kedo ga na ngonda noi kami mem do pahan ngambra tui kami nan pani
doesn't end up with a win condition that's just gonna get wrecked in the early game.
Bro, phone tora adi stream mo mutat kini. So idram ne do mas.
And I think at the same time,
leke wali ke mari wali
good homework into how to kind of mitigate the problem. A lot of why we didn't get to see the Hayabusas come within that first phase was, hey, Moskov was already locked in for us for the side of TS. They had the insurance policy, paid the premiums for it, and now we're just waiting for the damages to come on through before they can claim and cash out.
I think we can also say that the game could have fallen into ONIC PH's hands there. It's just the early, there was, like I said, there was a couple early game games where they got bumped, where they advantage got taken away from YSS that's going to farm up when you have a composition like Team Spirit. It's all about who gets those first couple kills. Because if ONIC PH snowballed with the Fanny, with their composition, the game could have looked very similar just on the opposite side of the gold, you know, so I think maybe we don't take a rush approach. Maybe we take a slower approach. Maybe we be a bit more patient. Team Spirit isn't a team that you're going to be able to just snowball against, I feel like.
I think right now for ONIC PH, open up multiple avenues for winning conditions, right? Have that bell curve that everyone keeps on raving about. You need a early stage of the game to survive. You need a mid stage where things really start to escalate, the peak of winning. Guaranteed late stage hero that could actually get you over the line. Because the comps that we're seeing, no possible support
ay kau ngang dui niyo. TSK support kaya amta siyan ba yaro. Loy lagi dam.
They drafted and went into relied a lot on just winning skirmishes early on. That's one of the reasons why you picked the Faramis, as we acknowledged earlier, wherein the Faramis comes out and showing the other team who wins the skirmish, and how confident will be TS
na ba Karaba stream 2 days tharo.
So Real quick before I go to my next big question, should the Faramis have been something else? Did it lean a little bit too much onto the idea of wanting to fight? Should they have gone for something with a little bit more crowd control?
No, I think that the way that ONIC played it, they had an idea of that we needed to do so. We've already set up Brusco on the Gato to make sure that no matter what pick, even if it was a Valir for all intents and purposes, the laning phase would have been okay.
I think the Faramis was okay, but again, I think King Kong bit a bit more than he could chew on some of those ganks. I think maybe they underestimated Team Spirit a little bit. Maybe they underestimated Kid Bomba. Maybe they underestimated Hiko. Maybe they thought they could run in solo queue against 2 or 3 people and be able to pull things off. But they weren't able to. So again, it's more about how they approach the match than yeah, but...
So if that's the case, would you like to see ONIC PH
aduga karigumba ONIC na semi-final si Hexangraba.
Similar to what SRG did game 4 to 5 against RRQ. They acknowledged
ay kusida anytime game thananing matam thanani anytime stream thaning matam thani anytime kuno to madanang yan pyaro
do you think that's something ONIC Philippines could go for now heading into this game number 2?
I think okay, so there's 2 risks, right? There's 2 risks. If they go over the blue side, there's a high possibility that, like, you know, we do see that Team Spirit doubles down on making sure that the high priority assassins from the side of ONIC gets punished, right? Like, we've seen Kirk is going to play weak side a majority of the time. If they want him to get ahead, sure, Brusco, Y Hero Pull, Super Friends, High Hero Pull, Telra can also play weak side, but he needs like a combo. He needs a big setter to make it work. So really, King Kong is the pain point, and I think if they want to double down on getting rid of the
later ba sida kari ahead ba kusi tawgi ga hay no beti
yeah, I think it's hard to say in draft just yet. It's hard to say exactly what the right answer is, because for me, even though it feels so weird saying this, they just kind of played poor. I feel like that game they were just a little off in the beginning.
Moi Indonesia Philippines kanggu ji moi sammaning ji da kai ji kai gitu sibo.
What exactly happened in their heads?
Oni na kare di 50k yawan je moi TS kanggu da au
10,000 gold lead.
So it's gaming setup je kaya mo tawge. Gaming setup la. Gaming setup din pala si mga mukta orang nila.
They just need to play better.
All right, and as we saw in our fantasy lineup, a couple of us did include some key figures from Team Spirit, there, but now we go back to the center of the map. We look at Sawo, we look at Sunset Lover, will ONIC PH now try to see if they can get a better matchup in the center of the map, so that Sawo and Sunset Lover aren't so freely able to do the things that they did in that game number 1.
I don't think that they were... that's the thing, right? When you look at that laning phase, the Gothot makes it null and void, right? It's like, how often do they really get to interact with the farmers? I would say pretty much none. By the time that they've already made the mistakes in the early game, the gold lead was basically in the hands of not only Hiko, but alongside with Kid Bomba, right? That's where we saw the majority of that lead, and then obviously the YSS because of the amount of time wasted, but even so, it's a strong game from them.
Kid Bomba nang apoy ok machine ni wa adubo si matang sila di upay like I am with the muscle guy.
Now that we're in a single elimination match, we'll see what happens. Oh wait, no, I don't want to say that he was referring to ONIC ID, just as ONIC. So a little bit of a question mark there. So I'm not gonna put words in Kid Bomba's
game 2 tagi ONIC na kaba horan ni, don't worry. Game 2 tagi ONIC na kaba horan ni.
Oh yeah, that's true. We don't have ONIC ID, it's just ONIC.
It's just ONIC.
Okay, so he could have been talking about the Indonesian counterparts.
Were they the first?
Yes.
ONIC ID was the first, right?
I mean, they had 2 branches from like a very early stage. Yeah, from an extremely
first.
Indonesia, the Indonesia.
Oh, machine na yun.
Okay, by the way, there is also prizes for the most hours watched, and peak viewers actually goes to Zcast Gaming. Where are we right now? Okay, because of peak hours watched, Zcast Gaming is currently leading the leaderboard.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Especially when you have
streamer leaderboard never sit down.
Like R7 on top of Skylar. Nice job. Well played.
Hold on, where's our boy Mirko at?
He'll catch up.
He's over in the
other room
right now. Make sure you guys tune in. Shout out to Mirko.
Diamond Pang
Mr. Wolf casts as well.
Mr. Wolf
also recovering right now in the hospital.
ONIC PH
yeah. He needs that ONIC band-aid.
just a little porcupine right there on his foot.
Considering that his cat is already named Meow, I think I'd be very curious to see what he would name the porcupine.
Alright, so I do want to bring it back for a second. Earlier you mentioned like mid lane control. I think if there's anything in draft that ONIC PH can do is don't let that YSS go into the hands of one shot again.
All right.
I think if there's any hero, and there it is going to get banned out by Team Spirit because they know better. I do think this is one of the few picks in my mind that should not get let onto the map unless you are going to get it for yourself.
Team Spirit banned the YSS and
guys,
and that I think that's it in terms of like getting some of the best picks possible in the hands of King Kong.
Baxia. They also have to get rid of the Baxia. They need to open up a couple more mid picks here, and then we'll see what the response is. Because so far, the underperforming heroes that we've seen from King Kong also include the Fredrin.
Yep. ONIC PH are actually the ones to ban out the Baxia. Could be setting up for a Uranus rush pick, but then Uranus priority has also went
let's go, ONIC. Let's go
down ever since the group stages.
Yeah, I mean, and I think in the last day since yesterday we didn't even see it picked or banned, did we? It's only these two teams are the one. Only ONIC PH has been the one to ban it so far in knockout. They don't ban it this time. Is that another small tale of like what's going on? Like, why do they think so differently than every other team right now? We're gonna see now for Team Spirit's last ban. The Bosch is gone. They decide to ban out the Kalea.
See smiles there from the head coach of Team Spirit. ONIC PH
why are you smiling?
Going into the first.
Why are you smiling? You know, Angela, why are you smiling, man?
For Super Friends. Nothing to rush in the EXP. Gold, nothing to rush. Oh, they can rush the 1-1, but then it might end up becoming the same story if you can't build around it well.
The mid lane is a possibility. I think with the 1-1, if they decide to rush it, there are still some utility junglers out there they can put on the front side, the Fredrin, things like that. I almost feel like if they wanted to go the Fermis last game, a Fredrin would have been a bit better. They go for the 1-1 up front. Team Spirit now with the response. Do they just pick up the Phoveus again? And Phoveus mid lane, Phoveus Jushin, just back to back. It's comfort for them.
Yeah, Phoveus Jushin, or I feel like Phoveus Farsa could be good alternatives as well. But they go for the CC for Kid Bomba. They want that priority for Kid. And of course, CC over Phoveus.
Dude, that's crazy. So they lock in the CC. I like the fact that Kid Bomba has that paper in front of his
mouth. You know why did he cover his mouth?
Maybe it's loud in there. Maybe it's loud in there. You know?
They're wearing also, to be fair, Kid Bomba's on the side of the table that's closest to the side of ONIC, because right with how it's set up, see, it's very close to where Kirk is.
Right? It's so wild. It's so wild. But wow. Okay. No, wait. Huh?
With the phone?
Why? Why?
Romarlot?
Why?
But
do you
show both. This is Gideon hates this for the viewers that don't know. His skin's crawling right now.
Mainly because the question is why. It's not like it's a strong synergy. It also reveals immediately what you're. I mean, it reveals exactly what you want to do, unless we are seeing LaCC go into the gold lane, which I don't think is likely at all in this particular case. So I don't value it as much.
And there's also a low percentage that Arlot's going to get banned in second phase. Like, you could honestly pick that up at any point after you've gotten the CC, or you could just pick it up front. But hey, Team Spirit's up a game right now, so we'll see what they do. Fredrin, Selena on the side on the page. So there's the Fredrin that I was talking about. I think it's clean overall. Team Spirit on their last pick.
There we go.
Lock. Okay.
Yep.
So there's three tanky boys.
Yeah, so I really like, the Arlot, I feel like that's them trying to avoid that Arlot Fredrin combo. Something that has done incredibly well in MSC. Yes, I'm a bit 50-50 on it, but let's look at where ONIC PH draft is. So they pick up the Fredrin still, okay. They pick up the Selena, still going up against the Akai, Arlot, CC. This Selena might have been a little bit, how do I say this, premature in being showed. I feel like a different mid laner could have come in.
I suppose this is just so weird to me, right? Okay, so yes, I agree that the Arlen as well as Akai is a pretty decent combo, and I think the Akai is a good response to the Fredrin. The blind pick Selena, the blind pick Arla as well. I feel like these teams are thinking a little too far ahead when I don't think it's necessary, right? Yes, you have some nice synergies to actually work with, and I think that TS is reading into this a little bit by getting rid of the Paquito, because they want to make sure that this CC is going to basically go untouched and has that winning lane almost no matter what we see from the side of ONIC PH. And I think the only other option is just to play either A, Sandbag Heroes, or Benedetta, just to not interact with their opponent, because there's a severe lack of damage from the side of ONIC PH for now.
Badang is the ban for Team Spirit. They take away another Brusco pick. They take away Paquito also thinking, I think this also reinforces both of them are just a little thinking too far ahead as they are considering the possibility of that ending up in the hands of Kirk. Now the Kimmy is the last man there for ONIC.
Okay, so I don't think they go for like a Farza in the mid on Team Spirit. There's way too many answers to it. They need some sort of mid lane though. Moskov does get picked up back over to ONIC PH. Still needing a Roam and an EXP. Do they go for the glue this time? With Badongon, Gatot also still open. Could be a possibility for them, I think.
I think the glue might lose in terms of map presence against the CC.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know, but I feel like as Team Spirit shows their draft one hand out to say, hey, we could be punished, they already have the answer in the other hand. So it really is dependent on ONIC to kind of decide to pick their poison onto where they want to have the weak side to be. And I don't think it's going to be from Calrus. I think he's going to be totally fine. The real question is, are we going to get once again a disengage mechanic from ONIC? Yep.
Edith Rome, Lapu EXP, Valentina in the mid.
What a draft with that Valentina pick. That was so expected already by the side of Team Spirit with how fast they picked it. They knew that Valentina was going to be, that Edith was going to be coming out, and they're leaning into it. Getting a lot of head scratch moments from me, even from Drex.
Yeah, both drafts are interesting. I'll say that. I think ONIC PH kind of lacking in damage overall. Yes, the Selena, but I don't know. It just seems both drafts seem unnecessarily hard.
I agree, and I think that this time around, whoever their scrim partners are, it's kind of whack. I got to give it to TS. I think they're called significantly better.
All right, let's see what Brigida and Nice think about the drafts heading into game number 2.
Thank you so much to the panel. Once again, welcome to the desk. Here it's me, Naisu, and Brigida. Yeah, we were scratching our heads too. You know, this is a very interesting draft, to say the least, but this is what we wanted. We wanted to see some of these variations going into this, and we have so far today. Now, mix it up a little bit more. It was very honest from TS early on in the draft. They had some things picked up. The Valentina, we don't even see that much. But over on the other side, we have seen ONIC Philippines Brigida play a similar lineup, you know, even in our own region there. But we do know, hey, Super Prince loves this Selena. Maybe they can make this work, but this is not what you see often. A Selena and the Edith paired up together in the mid.
In the current meta, at least. But Kelra in the bottom lane, very, very close to finding a kill towards Hiko. Going back to what you mentioned, I agree. This isn't the first time we've seen ONIC PH decide to go for a lineup that may be a bit mechanically demanding. Okay, so to answer our question, it does not matter for ONIC PH, because even way back, you mentioned it, they've been going with the Selena go-ahead combinations, and now it's an Edith Selena that they're making it work.
This is so. I know some people saw the draft and like, yeah, that's a little damage. Well, when you're winning the skill shots, when you're throwing people into the air, and you're winning a 1v1, it doesn't matter. This early on, you got a nice lead for both, but again, a lot of people that are watching ONIC Philippines for some time know that Super Frizz, like, look at this. He is going to be hitting these arrows. There is a reason why teams would just ban out the Selena eventually against ONIC Philippines. Now, this might be one of the games where we see that happen.
It's just so hard to move around if you're Team Spirit. Again, there's only one person with a Purify, and that's
100% right now.
So far, all of the Abyssal Arrows, they're likely to land. And it's almost guaranteed that you could just follow up with your other crowd control skills if you're already able to land the Abyssal Arrow, especially from a distance, because that guarantees a much longer stun duration. And so far, we've been seeing ONIC PH take full control of the early stages of the game just by the amount of pressure that Super Frizz is able to do. And there you go again, another Abyssal Arrow, nearly causing Hiko to be taken out.
Hiko's dealt with a lot of pressure here, and I know Kelra got the advantage earlier on. We'll take a look here. Who gets the grab? Okay.
Arlosina tingko ba adegi sisina EXP ba. Adadri brado de Hiko nang sayang power dine power ba dudi.
He put himself in that position.
Power over nang.
You know, he knows he has level 4. He knows he can get the crossbow off, and now they're in trouble in the mid.
Power ba. Power ba. Power ba. Power ba.
Lover will have to do their best to keep themselves alive up against 3 members of ONIC PH. There's the stun coming in towards Bruno, and they find the kill. Kid Bomba doesn't make it as well. well, but at least Team Spirit somehow finds some answers.
Sunset Lover was like, if you can do it, Brusco, so can I. Turned in to the Edith himself with the IMU. And that might be the case. You know, one of the things is just picking the right ultimate. Now, for the most part, that's most likely going to be Brusco on the Edith.
Yep.
He should be able to utilize that. But I think the most difficult part here for Team Spirit really is just kind of playing the dodge game. Like, you have to dodge a lot of these shots that are coming out from ONIC Philippines. You have to be very aware even when the flickers are available, because not only can Brusco make those plays and then pop that Primal Wrath later on, but also for Kirk. We've seen this time and time now that Lapu Lapu has become more of a popular pick throughout MSC. And interestingly enough, too, there's Brusco.
Oh, flicker set up, but the flicker final slash as well to
what the fuck?
First casualty in this team fight, but the heavy spin. It seems like they're trying to pin down and force Brusco away from the fight. Kirk still doing a great job on the Lapu Lapu, though. Nice. Will actually pick up a kill towards Savo. Now there goes the energy eruption coming in from King Kong, and the Earth once again.
Duke it out, but this is rolling on this Edith starts this fight out. You know, I wasn't sure if Hiko was going to follow that Spear of Destruction. Yes, kind of communication Philippines, where we see them go back and forth for this, clear things up, and even win this fight into winning the objective. Great choice here for them to go ahead and secure this, lock that in.
I know we might have just pointed out the entire conversation about damage and the lack of, well, not in the panel earlier, but it seems like the sustain actually worked wonders for ONIC PH during that team fight, because they were able to stay in the fight long enough, especially King Kong and Kirk. And now they go for another target. Able to use the Vengeance to reposition, granted the amount of chain CC. So they pay a bit more attention to the gold lane, which I feel has been very much favored Kelra so far. Hiko sitting on a 0-2. There have been a couple of questionable decisions in terms of his micro.
This is what I'm saying. I don't know what the difference is right now. I'm sure we'll see that in just a second here, but Kelra's 2 levels above Hiko. He's been winning the lane since it started. You know, we saw that when we got into the game, that he was the one that got Hiko really low, and then he's just kind of continued to punish. And even if his Super Friends just shows up, or anyone really, Brusco as well, they put enough pressure on Hiko that he's kind of just forced off of the turret. And that's why we see that tier 1 down. So Team Spirit might want to just kind of decide, like, do we need to just let Hiko stay to himself and go ahead and farm up? And how do we play that? You know, how do we let that go? The crowd there, they're super happy about this right now for the game 2, especially how one-sided game 1 was. You know, Team Spirit had that very decisive game 1, but it seems like ONIC really in control of this one. Okay, Kelra, nope, but hold on.
Yeah, he had to use the Purify there, but another final blast, and the SOD. Hiko might decide to join this time around, but the moment he does, get out right there. Kirk and King Kong will be traded, however. There's another little arrow landing onto Kid Bomba.
Nice.
Immediately falls. A 3-4-3 trade so far.
Super Prince wanted to say calculated, but that was a little miscalculated. He thought he could get it. Unfortunate for them, not. But they will go ahead and get another objective, maybe 2, once that turtle's locked in here. Again, look at this difference for the gold laners.
That's a massive lead in the hands of Kelra. Not even the heavy spin could pin him down, and he will just continue to be a threat to Team Spirit. This is going to be one of the most difficult parts of the game. If you just let the one snowball this much, you have a much harder time trying to lock down this hero, or better yet, even bursting it down, because you don't have enough damage to deal with this hero just yet, and that's only one out of the many problems you have to think about going up against ONIC PH in a team fight.
Yeah, because Brigitte, you have to think about it this way, and I know our panel mentioned it. It's like the damage for ONIC Philippines' lineup would traditionally need to take some time to build up, aside from, of course, Super Prince here. But they've bought enough time because Kelra has scaled up so quickly in this game. But this could be a fight here.
Yeah, the curtain call was used
Nice,
on call.
nice, Kelra, nice, Kelra, nice.
By that engage. Taking down 2, and they just need one last hit to take down this tier 1 in mid.
As I was saying, the scaling here for Kelra happened so quickly, and part of that wasn't even the team. Again, he did this in the lane from the start against Hiko, and Hiko is continuously playing catch-up. Now sitting at level 9 to Kelra's 12, he's multiple thousands gold behind, and this is what Super Prince does best on the Selena. He will just continue throwing out arrows, and being a threat.
And they were that desperate that they had to use even the heavy spin just to get away. Hiko will be trading things out for now, but there's Kirk that's up top to manage things for his team. Final stash will be committed onto him as well.
No problem, then
they're taking a look at the top lane. Landshaker doesn't land onto Hiko, and they're trying to run away, but Super Prince, will he be able to successfully block their path? Abyssal Arrow doesn't land, but even just Kelra standing right there,
He's threat enough.
It's already enough.
He's threat enough. They don't want to go toe-to-toe with that right now. They're going to lose a whole lot here. So this is now, again, a massive swing in favor of ONIC Philippines. Kelra just picks up the Berserker's Fury. They're in great position to just take this Lord. I don't want to see Team Spirit contest this. I know they're around the mid. They still have Hiko up top, but it's way too late. He does throw the spear. Super Prince tanks it to the face.
Wait.
Hiko followed through with that. So they might have tried to make a play, but it's better that they don't. So Lord is secured here now for ONIC Philippines.
Yeah.
We have to see if Team Spirit, down this much gold, 7,000 gold, if they have enough in the tank to hold the line, basically, with this push-in.
Yeah. I feel like they wanted to do something away from the Lord, so there were potentially less members from ONIC PH and less things to risk, and at least they get something out of that downtime wherein they were unable to find at least any trade away from ONIC PH. Now that they've handed over the Lord, I agree. Defending might be a huge struggle for them, considering that it's a 4K lead in the hands of Kelra in contrast to Hiko. But that's the retribution already. King slows down Sour just a bit, but at least the arrow does not land. So that's what they'll have to deal with for now. Defending and holding on to the remaining base turrets.
Trying to hold on to these holy shields, but they are going to go down up top. Lord has made its way to the bottom. An arrow going to
Oh no, it's Hiko. He still has the Purify though. He will not use it just yet, but the Conceal, it sounded like ONIC wanted to do something, but they're going to respect that Team Spirit. They're all complete, they're all full HP. The shield's already popped, however. But they're still really trying to threaten them. Oh,
got a heavy spin out.
That was
something.
A massive ultimate. That's onto one shot as well.
What's up, Kelra, man? What's up?
Both of them, they're very low, and they're doing their very best just to defend their base turrets. Terrified for Kirk, but that's all for now.
They lose 2 turrets, so Team Spirit's still in the game, but just like we saw in Game 1, they're the ones facing down a 10,000 gold lead for ONIC Philippines. And it's a massive lead, even on the damage scale here. You're seeing how much Kelra has done.
Whoa.
They might look to just end the game if they can get a favorable setup, even before this next Lord. They still have a minute to go ahead and buy some time, but TS, it just looks like they're in this position where they're not sure how this is going to go. King Kong, confident enough.
Oh, there's no curtain call anymore, but the heavy spin will actually be able to catch him. Tries to dash away, but King Kong, that's going to be a kill over to Team Spirit. They're very happy with that. They just want those small wins for now.
I'm not sure the play there. I'm not sure if they were, just trying to make it a forced situation, but it was clearly not part of the plan there. But it is just a kill that goes in the hands of Team Spirit. They do get some extra gold in the right hands here. But that's the thing. ONIC Philippines is so far ahead, especially in terms of map presence, map space to work with. And with a Selena, it's even more. And that's why these traps and these arrows are paying, a huge value to ONIC Philippines. But it looks like TS wants to go with a play. They're going to use a conceal, but I don't think they catch anyone out.
Yeah, and I think it was just in time.
We're
still there. Information either way. Kirk goes in with the bravest fighter. There's the flicker attempt as well, but they don't get to set up for anyone. So Team Spirit are able to walk away safely, but now there is the Lord.
Okay, Lord is up. They're going to go ahead and fight for this one. It looks like TS still wants to go.
Yep, there's a stun, and they definitely will be closing in, but one shot!
Nice. No retry. They know the objective.
And now ONIC PH, they're looking for more. They're
they know the target.
Nice.
It is nice.
The earth just lands on Sunset Lover.
Unfortunate for Team Spirit. I'm surprised they got a position for that Lord take, but with one shot being caught out and then just collapsed on, they had no other choice, no other space to work around. Enough for ONIC Philippines. They might already have this one in the bag. The Lord is making its way up top. They have the base turret in the mid to work on. But I don't even know if they're going to wait for it right now. They still come up. Sunset Lover, less than 10 seconds away. Team Spirit should be in a full fighting force to defend this. But they have to play dance here. They have to dodge these arrows and get ready for this Lord. The traps are all set up. Super Prince.
Nice.
Just gain access to the members of the back line. It's a 2-for-1 trade so far, however, but there's still a wave coming in the mid lane.
1-1-3 nyo. 1-1-3 nyo.
Committed on to Brusco, and they pop the immortality for now.
Do they have enough damage? They still have the waves pushing in, and Kimbo
Get
was enough to clean it up, and that will be one more for Sour, but a game.
Cầm đầu ba, TS càng go cầm đầu ba. Cầm đầu ba.
They took that risk. They went for the final slap.
ONIC for a reason, guys. ONIC for a reason.
Single or two members of ONIC PH, but their reflexes were too fast.
ONIC for a reason.
Reacted to it just in time.
ONIC for a reason.
That resulted in multiple wasted important resources for Team Spirit before the final defense.
And that was everything that ONIC Philippines had to do. They had to get those spells out, the ultimates out. Because it was good juggling, honestly, from TS to be that far behind, but sweep things forward, stay in the game as long as they did, even despite that big gold deficit. But again, ONIC Philippines came into game 2. They had some power picks in their hands. Especially with the Selena, was amazing here. But nonetheless, they brought this game to life and made it work in game 2. So let's throw it over back to the panel to break down our game 2.
ONIC Philippines reminding Team Spirit and the rest of the world who they are. Super Friends on his signature Selena. He plays that like a mobile master.
Yeah, he does. But I feel like after watching Game 1 and Game 2, all the MLBB enthusiasts after watching the previous series look at this one and they're like, what am I supposed to learn from this? What is happening?
I will say this, ONIC 2 games, the first game, they try to bring the aggression in the early game, they fail. Second game, they bring the aggression in the early game, and it passes. So, yes, I still don't think exactly it's the draft that we're looking at, but the gameplay itself, and is this going to be the story for the next possibly 3 games? Can Team Spirit withstand the first 2 to 4 minutes?
Again, game number 1, it was Team Spirit dominating that. Game number 2 is ONIC Philippines winning all over the map. Hiko straight up losing to Kelra in lane. 2 kills early on. That 1-1 bullied that Moskov.
What's even crazier about that, it's the same exact matchup as last game. Moskov versus 1-1. So my question is, did Hiko maybe get a little too confident after game 1? Try to push the limits? Forget who Kelra was?
I mean, the second death I think was the most evident, the level 4 into level 3. What are you doing there? Brother, man, he has a pure inbuild, Purify. You hit him against the wall. Why do you continue the trade? There's just so many weird things that happened in this game, but what was clear was ONIC PH's early game, the lane phase especially, basically allowed them to do whatever they want, right? They were in the exact same position that TS was in game number 1, pulling it into game number 2. ONIC PH draw the line in the sand. It's like, we're not going to let you walk over us like you did in game number 1. We're going to go toe-to-toe. If you want a mechanic, we'll out-mechanic you just as much.
Yeah, I appreciate this Edith pick that was part of the last set of picks here for ONIC Philippines for Brusco. And most importantly, how Brusco executed this Edith. He was checking the rotations of Kid Bomba, Sawo, and Sunset Lover incredibly well. There was a bit of a mishap at the center of the map around mid-game, but at that point, ONIC Philippines just had a massive lead that even though they lost, because Kelra was winning lane so hard, they could afford those little mishaps.
Hi bro, hi. Lapu ka, Moscow ka, alot ka to just 1,000 to the seal the adwini seal ito.
Showing that maybe Wan should stay in the main phase. Even though they beat it in game number 1, it's still a problem. And outside from that, you mentioned the other player. I'm mentioning King Kong because I feel like the Fredrin was actually a really solid pick from you. Like the Edith, I really liked the Fredrin. I feel like it forced King Kong to stay with the team a bit more. Yeah. Whereas game number 1, he was getting caught off by himself too much, and he allowed the rest of his team to shine with the damage as long as he was able to peel and protect them.
Yeah, I feel like this was a little redemption game also from King Kong, who for the longest time now since last season, the community beats have been, oh, King Kong is not that great. I feel like they needed this confidence game for him. He needed a performance like this on this Fredrin to show Team Spirit, to show himself like, I can do this too.
For the reason.
Don't get me wrong, it's really, really hard when you've got a lot of confidence why he was already able to develop a 2-level lead against One Shot in this case. And a lot of it is because, Selena was able to get pretty much a quote-unquote free lane after getting that initial solo kill onto Sawo, but also supplementing the fact that now King Kong has Selena with the packs to make him feel like an assassin jungler, like he's clearing obnoxiously fast because of him.
Yeah, it looks like we got a series here. We're not going to be getting any sweeps in the second quarter-finals matchup for the Knockouts phase, as now ONIC Philippines have tied things up against Team Spirit. What will happen in game number 3? We'll find out after this break.
Okay, after this break, okay. Pero ganun tayo kay EIA. 3-1, disoidre. 3-1, disoidre. 3-minute break. Kairi ko hayang semi-final sana ka to ini. Liquid ka. Audi ki aggressive void di fazare. Ayun ko arrive pili or boy. Muro na ay ka bada yung pada kano. Yara ganun mana kay karino na iri tubo. Ako di 4-1 yun na kali 4-1 yun na kala ado wala kang ay gidi guest out dito to koiraga elaskin law na ba bro gidi di may kambing na silakan di soy de dilakan bro who are you supporting ONIC PH kaya 1-1 below sumo bro sumna na tron na hindi ko kayo nila
Reach your impossible, Lenovo Legion.
아직 third match 하고 그래 아직 third match 하고 그래 ONIC ID na 강대 아이기도 ONIC 아니막 파이널 사나오지 내 나이지 ONIC 아니막 파이널 사나오지 This is not a game. This is STC game. Bro, late gaming ka collab ang to live gaming ko collab to.
So far, this has been a series determined by how well you can execute in the first 2 to 3 minutes of the games here. Team Spirit did so excellently in game number 1, while ONIC PH clapped back hard and reminded them who they are with a near perfect execution in game number 2. And of course, individual performances from Kelra in the gold lane being able to shut down Hiko. Now, so we move on to game number 3. We fortunately still have to talk about the draft here, because that does help contextualize a lot of these early game requirements that we're looking for both Team Spirit and ONIC. So, who would like to start things off? What are we expecting?
It's hard to say what we're expecting, because so far from game 1 to game 2, there's been a pretty big change in the way these teams approach it and what they banned and what they pick. So I think game 3, I think we could be in for even more surprises, honestly. The questions on my mind is, does Team Spirit now ban out Selena? Do they ban out Wanwan? Did they change the way they approach this as well?
I'm going to put it in layman's terms. Stop sucking in the laning phase. There's really nothing you can do if that laning phase goes as horrendously as we've seen from both of these teams in game 1 and 2. Doesn't matter how good your draft is, especially if you're not walking out of there to go head toe-to-toe against your opponents when you are on equal footing. Most of the time, based on what we've seen, the draft plays to a degree a certain part, but even then, they're going so far above and beyond that it doesn't really matter if the early game is as abysmal as that.
Yeah, going back to the draft in game 1, yes, that Kufer pick was a massive counter and did pose a lot of problems for King Kong's Fanny, but it wasn't just that. I think we also got to the point where we agreed that if the early game was just a little bit better from ONIC in that game number 1, it would have been a much more different story. It would have been a little bit more even, where now Team Spirit had to really calculate things. So yeah, I think I've leaned in now to, you two have convinced me that it really is all about how sharp these two teams are in the first 2 to 3 minutes and how well they can get their early win game conditions.
And that's the thing. I feel like once they get past the, alright, we're going toe-to-toe, both sides are looking for active advantages through the draft to apply into the early game, then sure. And I think that ONIC does it a little bit better in game number 2. But coming into game number 3, right, it's not a matter of blue side, red side anymore. It really comes down to the synergies if they want to say, you know what, let's just bypass the laning phase in the first place, right? If that's what's costing us these games, we might as well, especially with ONIC PH, the one who has the gas. They've got momentum, as we saw clearly in the same matchup between Kelra against Hiko Mania. I think that Team Spirit needs to recognize, alright, let's make mid lane obsolete, let's rotate and save his lane as fast as possible.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they did in the first game pretty much. They played a little reactionary, but they did it well. They waited for ONIC to come to them and then catch them off guard. Respond cleanly, and instead of jumping out, trying to win the 1v1, instead of doing things like that, they were able to take the win through letting ONIC kind of bite their own head off.
Now, as we head into the draft for game number 3, all right, we talked a lot about execution. I feel like if Team Spirit can, it's warranted to make sure that Kelra doesn't end up with a 1-1 anymore and that Super Prince doesn't end up with Selena.
I'm actually okay if he gets the 1-1, to be fair.
I mean, they did beat it game 1, right?
Yeah, they did beat it. Beat it game 1, but I think this is on condition if 1-1 gets let through, please have CC on your side, right? That crit call is such a powerful tool to kind of keep Kelra in check during team fights. Team Spirit will be on the blue side though, so if everyone wants available, they haven't been shy about rush picking it for Hiko, as now the Selena gets taken away.
Good respect then by Team Spirit, as Super Prince was also one of the big reasons, alongside Brusco in the center of the map, as to why they were able to supplement King Kong well, and then they were able to control the center, giving a lot of difficulty to the Arlot roam of Sawo.
Hey, it looks like Kirk is even getting onto the meta of, don't show them our mouth movement, even though we're speaking in a completely different language.
Listen, man, Kibamba's Filipino.
Oh, you're right. I forgot. I'm so sorry.
He's actually speaking Tagalog to his own teammates, and that's why he's covering his mouth.
So that Kirk doesn't understand. All right, we've unlocked the code, boys. Team Spirit pass out the Kalea from Brusco. I think there could be a possibility that we'll see Brusco still end up in one of his old comforts in the Cho. Not the favored rush like before, but still does very well against very specific lineups.
Okay, something's throwing me off a little bit with the Lancelot ban. Real quick, Basha does come in. Okay, now it makes a little bit of sense. But ONIC PH, I feel like if you're not going to ban the Basha, maybe could have left the 1-1 open for yourselves at least. On their side, they get the CC this time. But there's my answer, right? They ban out the Lancelot. I wanted to see them maybe pick up utility here and get prio utility, whether that's Fredrin or Basha, and they do secure that.
I think they also need to pick up Kimmy. Kimmy can't be picked up with Boxy on the opposite end. Maybe Farsa, I suppose. Unless they also want to... No, but they can't even flex picks now that they already had the CC in the first place. So I think it's really down to like, hey, let's just get winning lanes and just, you know, smash the early game.
Orza could be clean here up front. They go for the Granger though. Another long range. You have burst. You have your bases covered. Instead, you leave Super Friends with the ability to flex into any kind of mage he wants later.
Yeah, I appreciate this Granger rush also because now you don't have to worry about a Granger Farsa potentially end up with Team Spirit, and then if ever you do end up with a Farsa, you have a great combo already locked in for yourself.
Yeah, for TS, I don't know if they're going to utilize the Boxy as a flex pick. It doesn't seem likely because there's no reason to just yet. I think it's fine if they are thinking about synergies like, the Angela Boxia, but I do think that Kimmy is kind of a must here.
Okay, so Kimmy, but then I think Irithel might also do well for Team Spirit.
Both will do well, but I think it depends on who... Actually, they can show both. Kimmy is alongside the Irithel.
Yeah, then go early, and then later on, surprise ONIC, if they do want to lean towards that Angela, it's a little bit greedy, but Angela Baksha, Angela Irithel, you have a lot of avenues there. What do you think, Jerks?
I've been seeing the Granger pop up, and the Irithel has popped to my mind too, like for a couple games that we've seen. But I don't know, I'm still, it's such a weird hero. Like, it either performs really well or it just bombs out, and sometimes it even bombs out against the hero it's supposed to do well against, i.e. The Granger. So for me, it's kind of scary, especially against a quick farming team like ONIC that wants to get aggressive early on. The Irithel takes a little bit of time. So I kind of like the Moskov still on possibly something comfortable. Beatrix maybe. I think Hiko has plenty of space to play. I don't think they have to rush him up front.
Okay, no problem.
The combination. This is
support of you.
Well, that's why I think they can push Hiko to the end of the draft, is what I'm saying. I don't think they need to rush him. They could prio Sawo, they could prio other players before locking in a gold lane.
I can get behind that, right? Especially if they're locking in like Kimmy. I mean, if they go Kimmy and then they have to figure something else out, what would be the other flex pick in this case? And I think that Cho, it's not the greatest, but it does kind of disincentivize ONIC to look to play an assassin.
For flex, they could lock in a Badang early on.
Oh, that's also good.
Like, lock in the Badang here, maybe their mage, and then they have nice movement, they have nice pivot position for their last two
money.
We're going to be seeing the draft return in just a bit. We're just sorting out some things on the stage right now to ensure that our players have the best and most even playing field. So thank you for this patience, for your patience, and we will continue discussing the draft here. If you have any picks that you'd want to throw up into the air, don't forget, wherever you're watching, feel free to comment, join us, and sound off online, as the online community have been very vocal, and we do play off a lot with what the community has been feeling with picks.
Can we get more shots of Coalstar? Because God, he's so handsome. They keep getting his perfect side profile, and I'm just like, geez, dude, he's got jeans.
Jeans.
Great retort. I love it. Oh, Kelra's just vibing out into the meantime. I'm thinking whether or not ONIC is still going to lean into the Edith pick. And I think more and more, now that they've already conditioned 2 times that it has gone into not only the EXP lane, 3 times at this point, that it's not only gone into the EXP lane, but it's possible for people like Brusco to pick it up later down the line. I think it's a great flex pick, and I think that is something that they might want to even consider throwing into the rogue position again if they're not looking to just have like that hard disengage.
Okay.
I agree.
Nangi pamjaba player dugi matungni na
even just meta in general right now, it's not easy being an analysis trying to guess drafts, right? Because there's just so much room to move. They do finally lock things in. Moskov, so they take gold lane, they get comfortable. I mentioned the Moskov earlier, it is a possibility. Do we see the Badong or something like that pop up to still leave themselves open?
We do.
There it is.
Yeah, great prediction there. They do have multiple flex options, surprisingly enough. As we've seen Baksha not only go jungle, but also into the roam. We've seen Badang go roam, EXP, usually roam, but the possibility is there. So ONIC Philippines will have to take that into consideration. They might wanna, do they go Super Friends or King Kong here? Considering there's already a chance Team Spirit are showing their jungler, and it might just be the Baksha.
It's tough.
Yeah,
I think no matter what, it's a bit of a pinch. The Baksha really locks down like a majority of the heroes. You go for Kimmy, you basically have the counter pick. You go for Frederick, immediate counter pick as well. They're gonna go for Joy. All right. Okay, so at least ONIC isn't afraid to say, hey, I'm expecting you to invade me, but once I get 2 items, maybe I can look for Hiko and play towards Kelra's side of the map.
I think this makes Brusco's pick all the more important, and hopefully Team Spirit check and actually acknowledge the potential of a Cho on the hands of Brusco, because that plays into the ONIC PH comforts and allows them to read the rotations of where the Badang and the Baksha is, if it is going to be going to jungle, most importantly. So hopefully they do consider that out. If not, I think ONIC Philippines might have a very easy time at the center of the map with Brusco on the Cho.
Team Spirit's also been doing a great job at picking heroes and leaving, you know, something that was a lot of problem in last year's the Farza open, but knowing like it's okay if you pick it. We have lots of answers for it. Gatot taken out. I mean, right now it's feeling very similar to Game 1, where Team Spirit's kind of putting ONIC PH in a weird spot where what are they going to do with their mid lane here? You're running out of options.
The man does have a wide pool. I am not going to take it away from Super Friends to consider locking in the Valir or even a Kagura yet again.
Yeah, both of which would actually do pretty decent into TS, right? Because it's about peel, it's less about damage. There we go, the Angela. See, that's why the Phoveus was such a weird ban. They could have let it through because they already had the counter pick on their side. Yes, it does a bunch of damages, but like, sure, you're not going to win the lane, which is kind of the important thing coming in. Sorry, the important theme. So pairing it up with also banning the Angela makes a lot more sense.
Okay, what's the last
ban from Team Spirit? Do they just continue into Rome here? Gatot's gone. Take out Dig.
The Tigreal might suddenly be a surprise option as well for Team Spirit later on, especially in the hands of Sao. They are going up against a Joy. Then that means it's a Badang CC matchup in EXP and Jungle Baksha. If ever that is the route we're going to end up with. They take out the Kadita. I think the two bands of Spirit are a little bit too obvious that they're leaning towards Farsa for the center of the map.
Yeah, ONIC PH, they can go for Kimmy, they can go for Farsa, both of which are pretty good. I think the Farsa might just be a lot better this time around because they don't need the inevitable engage, they need the big chunks.
Could be Brusco pick now, then just save Super Friends pick for 5 so that you go in with a little bit of element of surprise, because so far ONIC PH, I feel like they're a lot of their drafts, or the drafts that they lean into towards MSC, has that one element of surprise. And I think for this one, it could be the Super Friends pick at 5, if ever.
It's definitely a tough spot, and I think both teams really taking their time with this draft. I think this game right here is going to kind of be the tilter on how the rest of this goes. They go for the Cho. Solid. I mean, overall, it's, I mean, it's a decent pick, no matter what. It's nothing like, it's not like, oh, this is the answer, but it's not, you know, it's not out of this realm.
Yeah, no, I think that this is better. That way they can really utilize Super Friends' like deep hero pool. It might end up just being like Valir Cho, really depending on what this pick from the side of TS, whether it's the Farsa or it's the Kimmy. Either or, pretty decent at this point. You've got some pretty clear direction with the comp.
Could be Farsa, Kimmy, and then maybe even a Lapu Lapu for Kid Bomba. I feel like they need something a little bit more explosive as well in the EXP. They already have the Baksha, the Badang. I feel like the Glue would be a little bit too overload in terms of thinking about crowd control and utility. The Lapu Lapu could provide them that explosiveness, but they go for the Arlot instead, paired up with the Farsa. So they're looking to make a few of the maybe potential mispositionings that could come out from ONIC Philippines a little bit more punishable.
I'm for it because you have 3 enablers, and I think Badang is already a pretty strong enabler for the Arlot to go crazy throughout the match. The issue now is that you can play on both sides. You have two laners that potentially, I think that Hiko should be okay, which means that, unfortunately for Kid Bomba, he needs to be the one that stays alive, assuming that this Arlot goes into the EXP, which I don't think it's going to be the case.
Yeah, we think what Arlot Rome, Badang but oksbi. I like Team Spirit's draft. Last mage pick is the Lu Yi. It's the pick I wanted to see earlier. ONIC PH, again, just kind of drafting with comfort, I feel like, not being binded to anything.
Yeah, comfort plus that additional element of the Super Friend surprise pick.
Yeah, I think that TS right now, if anything, just don't suck at the laning phase, right? That's the if they can survive that, then we're going to see a real match against them versus ONIC PH.
Super Friends got a Selena in game number 2. Now he gets another signature pickup in the Lu Yi, a pick that has somewhat dipped out in terms of priorities, but when shown up, actually has served some surprises in previous tournaments, and especially here in MSC. Can ONIC push the envelope and go 2-1, or will Team Spirit shock him and take this game number 3? Bring it in, Nice. What do you two think?
Well, this is another pick over to Super Friends. One of the few players that I would say would be brave enough even to bring out the Lu Yi right now in the meta that we're finding ourselves in. We'll see if it's all enough to bring it to a match point for ONIC Philippines if they get this one, or if we see it TS bring it together with this. Again, I have to agree with Gideon here. They gotta win the lanes, bring it up.
Yep, getting past the laning phase to at least be on equal footing, regardless of the disadvantages of the lineup, is gonna be very vital for Team Spirit, considering that it has been one of the most noticeable things in the previous game, in the way that they just completely let go of the momentum, just allowed ONIC PH to take over the entirety of the game. But I feel like with the lineup that they have right now, they have a lot more tools to be able to keep up. And right now, they're showing us how they just want to keep playing just as aggressively up against ONIC PH. That was an early flicker forced out of Brusco, and that definitely already means something.
Yeah, I guess that was, you know, better than nothing. They do get the battle spell out, and we've seen it before where even a, you know, AHL early on can do enough damage. This is the same story right here. We saw this in the previous game where Kelra is just winning the lane. You might need to do something for Hiko here if you're Team Spirit to be able to provide him a better laning phase, but you know, it really does just come down to these gold laner mechanics here, and Sawa taking some damage.
Oh, he might actually be the first to fall then. Fortunately, he has the flicker. One shot will try to chase after. Oh, catches Kelra. And now it is clearly a better situation for Hiko in the early game.
That's tough. Loses the flicker too. Kelra being a little aggressive, I guess also mistiming that flicker because one shot comes through, finds that connection. And as we've seen before, Concussive Blast, especially early on, does considerable amounts of damage too. That's usually where we see like mid lane first bloods under the 1 minute mark. So with that happening, nothing too crazy, still evens across the board, but this Turtle's for the taking, the first one of the game. TS gets control of it. Brusco's not level 4, and King Kong's still working on the buff.
Yep.
They want to fight for this.
Oh, Fist Crack already used to King Kong. Will try to get the stun, but it still is Retribution. That's going to be able to secure the objective for ONIC PH. And now the curtain call, stopping Sunset Lover and Kid Bomba from walking to wherever they want to go. Actually gets caught. That will be the way of the Dragon denied, but the duality coming in from Super Friends, just dealing so much damage to clumped up members of Team Spirit.
That could have gone way different if ONIC Philippines had a little more firepower in it. Maybe even if Brusco had the flicker available, because he could have gone in and gotten multiple members with the G-Kondo. But it didn't happen, so that's better for Team Spirit. But again, the objective went to ONIC Philippines. So they're able to go ahead and get that. It's a small win for them for now. Nothing too crazy. Team Spirit still under control. I think, again, going back to it, the biggest thing is, you know, taking care of Hiko, letting him have a better laning experience. He did get the kill earlier on, so that is, you know, at least a little bit of a benefit for him to build up. But I don't know. This is one of the things where it's like you really have to see how Team Spirit plays around the options that they have here. King Kong, just taking that.
Gets stunned there briefly by Sunset Lover though. Oh, but Sawo off-cam kill by ONIC PH as well. It seems like they're able to somehow deal with whatever intentions that they have, and despite them trying to actually pay a bit more attention to Hiko, ONIC PH, they still make all that pressure felt. Like Hiko still can't say that he still has the best time right now in the laning phase, but Super Prince gets to escape that attempt from one shot. won't break out into a fight just yet, though.
Great job from Brusco there. King Kong might go to the turret, has the damage, will pick up the kill, and sidestep in the final slash as well. So a good response there from ONIC Philippines. I was going to say earlier on, Brusco did the right thing. He was able to put pressure where he needed to on Sunset Lover earlier on. So now second Turtles coming up here, and ONIC Philippines is in a good position. This is now a little bit of a spike that they have here. Genius Juan picked up 2 for King Kong. That's going to work really well with Super Friends on the Luyi. That is going to help even do a little more damage that we're seeing from the reactions or the interactions of Super Friends. So the fight, though, for the space for this turtle is going to be crucial. Gold Lane are still duking out 1v1, though.
Yeah, they've been doing a lot since that kill we saw onto Kelra, but that's a way of a dragon. But it's on to get Bomba. Fistcraft will be used as well. And one shot gets to steal the objective. Now Sunset Lover right in the face, takes down Kirk, and they will start to disengage after that. A surprising turn of events, but there's a diversion.
Oh, they're going for Hiko. They're going to go on the hunt, but I don't think they spot him out, and there's no kick from Brusco. So good job for Team Spirit. I mean, at least they're able to go ahead and secure themselves that, but Sunset Lover again. And this is what King Kong does, and he gets his hands on the joy. He will go and make these plays across the map. Sometimes if he gets the objective or not, it doesn't really matter in certain situations because he's able to get the right targets on this joy and put enough pressure where it's like, hey, I'm in your side of the jungle. Either you respond to me or you lose resources, or you lose these 1v1s. And that's the tricky part of a Joy, is keeping up with her and then like trying to catch her.
Yeah, things have been very uncomfortable for Sunset Lover, or more so for Team Spirit in terms of however they wanted to make use of their lineup and coordinate their skills, but they actually find a setup here onto Super Friends. There goes SOD, and Hiko will have to take him out on his own, but he will not have enough resources and gets threatened by the burst as well. So you see, once ONIC PH gets to split up the entire intention from Team Spirit, or just denies them of being as coordinated as they should be, Team Spirit can't just get the job done.
Okay. At this point, Team Spirit has to might have to transition here. They're gonna stay for the most part building up Hiko, letting him do his thing, but you know, this macro level of play is going to be, I feel like, the difference in this game. And anytime you have the Luyi on and play, that's one of the main things. We've seen it from the diversion, but you're playing a constant catch-up game because of this. Like I said, oh, hold on, diversion used. One shot's tanking up. You don't want to kick him, so he'll go ahead and then pop the ultimate, though. But this turtle's coming up, so he's going to go grab the purple buff. And then, I don't know, do they contest this? Because it's 1-for-1 for the turtles right now. ONIC has control of this. Brusco will jump in.
Maybe not anymore. Because they find a kill on the Sawa. Maybe too, because they also find Sunset Lover. There's the setup coming from Kid Bomba. So he doesn't land, and there is the potential duel. Catching 2 members of Team Spirit who are just trying to walk away. And that's a clear win for ONIC PH.
Really tough fight to take. Again, as we just saw, the damage that comes from a join a Luyi, what a kick to set things up. And then they force a fight even further in the mid. So they already lose 2 members for Team Spirit, but then the fight's still breaking out. And even if you're trying to run to your turret, you're not safe against this lineup here. So again, a really decisive play from Brusco. And you know, that's the thing with a Cho. You always have this option to set things up. Yeah, you know, you can feel the heat there. You can see the heat.
It's getting pretty intense. King Kong also picks up the Holy Crystal. So that's going to be a lot more damage that you could expect from him. A lot more tricky for Sunset Lover to position himself, I guess, if there is that much damage already coming in. And like you mentioned, it's going to be so tough for Team Spirit to pull off whatever the intentions they have, because like whenever they try to group up, there's that duality that's just going to deal so much damage, but this time around it might be a better situation for them. They find the kill on Brusco, gets away with the dragon.
Very good, very good, very good, very good, very good, very good, very good.
To close in, Kid Bomba tries to protect the other members, and that was a diversion that was no longer committed, but Team Spirit, they're just so low. They might not actually get to defend that mid lane turret, and they won't.
They lose the tier 1. And that last fight, so good from Brusco. Again, these kicks have been on point. Even if it doesn't convert to a kill, he kicked Hiko. So Hiko wasn't actually able to go ahead and fight in that fight, do the damage he needs to do on this Mozkov. So when they lose a lot of that, and then they just have, you know, the feathered airstrike that they're relying on in these fights, you lose a bunch of damage profile to be able to use.
It's gonna be super tough right now, considering that team spirit. If you look at the gold, majority of their members definitely are behind. Their XP laners, which we've put a lot of focus on, their XP laner is 1,000 gold behind as well. And now Brusco might just go for another setup to use the bomb, but he could barely do anything to make it out
what the
alive.
fuck, man?
And that's one member down right before the objective.
Okay, objective is up. They've fought for this at this point. This is going to be an easy Lord to take for ONIC Philippines. Really no contestation. You can see the space on the diversion too. They're going to go send it up top. So there was some pressure up there on the tier 1, but Team Spirit still looking for, you know, these turrets to grab. And now we really have to look at this, Brigade, in the sense that, you know, what can Team Spirit do on this defense? You know, I would say they have relatively good firepower to fight a fight. The problem is a lot of that damage is being kicked away, or it's being zoned out from the fights, and it's being juggled around that they're not able to actually utilize it. Brusco's been a menace on this Cho. He's doing a phenomenal job at finding the right targets. But you can see it. I mean, there is still respectable damage being done from Sunset Lover himself alone. So I still think they handle this first Lord pretty well. Like, they're gonna keep their base turrets intact unless there's a forced fight here.
Yep. It does feel like majority of the times, or whenever Team Spirit does want to go for the counter engage though, ONIC PH just have enough damage to either take that one member down and just consecutively look for other targets too and just win the fight overall. That's the holy shit already popped as well for their base turret up top. So how Team Spirit decides to approach their counter engages is gonna be very crucial, but it seems like now what they're after isn't just any counter engage. They use the conceal, try to threaten ONIC PH just a bit and work on defending their waves for now, but Brusco's just seemingly waiting for that flicker to come in, and then that's when he might potentially go and look for an angle. So Team Spirit shouldn't be that complacent about whatever situation's happening. But wait, Sawo, and now he misses the final snap and just burst it down.
The struggle that we're seeing with the Arlots right now. And that's the case. Sawo goes down, try to force something, but ultimately you're so far behind, you just get outmaneuvered, outgunned. Feathered airstrike to be used here to try to clear this out and hold on to this tier 2 turret in the mid lane, or bottom lane, but again, I think you're putting a lot of that weight now on Hiko. He should be able to fight, you know. I think the biggest problem is just, again, he doesn't have much space to work with. Just because there's such a threat. I mean, look at Brusco. He's been doing
now he finds the kick onto Hiko. And the kill goes over to Kelra. King Kong gets traded out too, however, but Sunset Lover doesn't land the skills. And there's the vengeance still from Kirk and the side steps. Oh my goodness.
The bob, the weave, the skip. You know, it's they're really just kind of going with the fact that they have this kind of lead. They can get away with a lot, and that's what we're seeing. Even if it doesn't seem like there's an angle here for them to push in the base, ONIC Philippines takes it anyway, whether they haven't concealed or Brusco is available to go for the kick. So they knew that was worth, you know, going for.
Yeah.
Lord is going to be up now, and back up. You're in a great position. Kelra, too, just having a great experience on the Granger here, picks up the BOD. So they're in, again, fighting form. Team Spirit, they have to make the decision. Do we actually contest this? Do we show ourselves for this fight? And it seems like they want to do that. And this has been the constant pressure that a lot of the roams in MSC have been feeling, especially when they pick up these, you know, these heroes like the Arlot. You're kind of reliant on setting things up like that, or the Badang, for example, for Kid Bomb, but there's the conceal.
Lord the Logan!
He looks for Super Friends, but there's the flicker, and now they use the diversion to just bring it closer to the target.
What the fuck, man? What the fuck?
Still, they still proceed with the fight with no nature used by Kelra, and one shot trying to look for another kill, but they just walk away.
Kelra! He knew that the feathered airstrike was going to be set up, so he might as well go for it. Flickers forward, gets the kill. Kelra makes it happen in the 1v2 in the mid.
Whoa!
That's Kelra.
That's okay.
I guess that's all we can say. I mean, he knew that there was eventually either he was going to go down or get feathered airstriked or something. So, you know, having that flicker available gave him that option.
Come on, let's go.
Lord's going to be cleared out. So this is
Lord
good for TS to withstand this fight, though. That might be forced down on them.
And that's the tankiest member. One-shot already using the Tortoise Passans.
That's your tanky dude. And he doesn't look that tanky. You know, it's... Again, when you have this kind of build-up in the items for ONIC Philippines, especially for Kelra, it's really hard to go through that. Look at the stacks here. Just absolutely stacked
768.
He's fully item locked too. Locked in. He had to pop the window to nature earlier on, but he's fine. And even though the Lord was taken care of, again, this is something that Team Spirit can play around. They always, when you consider yourself down this much, it's like, all right, what does this team do? And it's literally buying time. They clear out the Lord. That's great. Hiko is still in a fighting position. We've already seen it. He was in a good position to go and fight against Kelra.
Yep.
Like, the damage is there, but they've been having a hard time with Brusco here.
Honestly, for Team Spirit, I feel like they just really have to be mindful that no one at this point is definitely going to be safe. So wherever they decide to position themselves, it should be in a way that they could just immediately or easily find a way to regroup if things don't go too well for them, because even targets like Sao or Kid Bomba seem like they're okay targets for Brusco to go for in terms of using the Way of the Dragon, and now Sao might just be able to find an angle. We'll be using the final flash on Kirk though, but the follow-up, it won't be there just yet. There's the feathered airstrike as well as the back unity already coming on Super Frills. Brusco coming again from the sides. We'll just have to disrupt the formation all over again. And not to mention, King Kong wasn't even part of that fight just yet.
Yeah, he wasn't a part of the fight, but I don't know. Team Spirit is looking like they're confident enough to take the fights, knowing the fact that they have enough damage. Like, that's not even the question. The damage is not the question anymore. You've got a little more defensiveness now, though, for Hiko, which is really important. But you can see this, Sao goes in. Whoa, but diversion brings him to safety anyway.
They casted that even before seeing Sao, so it was just really a way to keep the discipline there, make sure that they'll be all complete before this upcoming Lord, which is looking to be one of the most important objectives yet in this game. Kirk will be trying to deal a bit of damage onto one shot, but where does Team Spirit look for an angle? That's the curtain call already committed by Kirk. But one shot, will he decide to go in? Brusco's just holding this brush.
Brusco's holding on. He's got an immortality. Spear's going to be thrown out. So this is the moment for them to strike. Sao looking for his own angle, but he takes a lot of damage here.
Oh, there goes the final slam. And then again, the team fight's kind of split up, but Super Friends will be the first target here for Team Spirit. Hiko's making things happen. Gets to look for Kirk, but then Brusco, he blocks one shot. There goes the fist crack, already committed as well. But all of them, Kirk and Brusco just get to some time, and Kelra just fighting the
come on.
Still keeping his teammates safe. It's Kelra who actually protected his team.
He was there for them, and he's staying together. They're going to be able to find Brusco, but can Kelra do it? Hiko finds him, and they finally shut Kelra down. It's a turn of events for Team Spirit, and now Kirk on the run. But this is a clear sign for Team Spirit to take the Lord.
They probably stayed there a bit too long. And it was Team Spirit who was able to actually keep themselves in the game, but Hiko gets knocked for another trade, but Kirk
no sans is given.
Man, the
no
tables
sans
turned.
is
the tables. It's all back and forth, just when it looks so good for Team Spirit. A diversion comes in clutch for ONIC Philippines. Talk about timing.
That was the most clutch diversion. Well, maybe second to that escape diversion we saw down bottom. There are too many diversions happening in this map. You know, like, I'm not sure how to rank them anymore, but now it's another diversion used to pressure the bottom lane. and they take down the base turret even before the Lord arrives.
We need a diversion tier list at some point for people
like
to throw
I said,
out there, but right
King
now
Kong,
it's this Lord
like
to
I
make its way
said,
down
when the
bottom.
team needs him,
Spirit
he
trying to
really
do their best.
perform it.
Hold on.
When the team needs him, he really perform it.
But King Bomba still has the flicker. Now Kirk goes in, uses the vengeance as well, just tries to keep the pressure going.
Lola yes.
And now they get to defend to a certain extent. The incoming waves that are approaching their base, but now they have to let go of all their base turrets.
The work on the Lord here, base turrets all gone.
Okay.
ONIC Philippines might just decide that's all we can take. Again, they're respecting what this lineup from Team Spirit can do and the amount of damage that it does have. Solo is always going to be a problem at this point because if they do get caught in a bad situation like we saw previously, where it was a forced fight, then ONIC Philippines, even with this, again, are in a position where they could make a mistake position-wise, Kelra gets caught out, or something happens. You know, and that's the thing. Both teams are actually doing a relatively good job at protecting the gold laners, but Hiko has to be a little more aggressive because of the fact that he's on a Moskov instead of a, you know, Kelra can shoot off a little bit from a distance from with the Granger. Now, that's the hard part for them. Spirit Destruction going to be thrown. Kirk will go ahead and give him a high five for that. And look at the positioning here. They want to force it in the mid.
Oh, maybe regroup for now because King Kong might come in at any given moment. But they spotted him out, so they decide to play it safe. That could have been a close call for Team Spirit though. Quick look on the in-game equipment, but maybe we'll talk about that later because the Purify was already used by Sunset Lover here. Wins her crown. Briefly tries to keep him safe. Might get the burst down. King Kong pops the immortality. And now
freeze mo.
The setup still going. Kelra has the space. Sao is 1 HP away, but he goes unleashing on Kirk. He jumps on over the wall, picks up an immortality, and tries to buy a little bit more time. But he has trouble with that. And again, the Lord is up. Two fall for ONIC Philippines.
Okay, I can see how everyone is feeling about this situation right now. People are standing up.
How?
And you understand why. This has been such a close fight. We're already approaching the 21-minute mark, and Team Spirit have somehow just kept themselves in the game despite how ONIC PH seem to have dominated so much already.
They have pretty much handled a almost 8,000 gold lead that ONIC Philippines has had. And now I feel like Team Spirit, they got the spirit. They're going to start up this Lord. There's diversion used. Does ONIC Philippines decide to try to take the Super Friends up front?
Oh, duality used onto one shot! Sunset gets affected as well, but he'll get to use the way of the drag, but it seems like he just
Lord
forced to walk
Lord
for now.
King Kong
Very
coming in
low,
Lord
King Kong making it down now! And somehow, to ONIC PH, the call is just to chase after the members of Team Spirit. There's another duality affecting
Go for Hiko!
Behind! Goes for Hiko! But somehow gets to reposition and keep himself alive!
And ONIC Philippines is full force healthy as Team Spirit lost 2. But they managed to get the objective. King Kong not there in time. Can the 3 hold out? With ONIC Philippines now approaching the base. Can they end it here?
They have millions, but the Lord is going to spawn in a few moments as well from Team Spirit, so they will have a bit more tools to manage this attack. No, Kirk gets bursted down. There's the better airstrike. Doesn't touch the Spear of Destruction.
And the feathered airstrikes, so good as well. They'll deal with the Lord here. But now, Team Spirit, Kid Bomba up in the front. He's got an immortality. I don't think he wants to force it. He does have the flicker available. And they know that Kirk is down for another 40 seconds. What can they convert off of this? That Lord nearly worked on here, but ONIC Philippines for the first time for the majority of this game will find themselves on the back foot. They're definitely going to lose some space here. And right now, Team Spirit focusing on the top side.
Okay. So Team Spirit are able to hold on this Lord still and might just get this tier 2 up top. There's a conceal, so they might try to go for something. Force out the flicker from Kelra. That's going to be massive for Team Spirit here if ever they do want to look for an angle later on. But ONIC PH, they get to hold on their base turret.
They hold on as much as they can. Nearly down there. But for Team Spirit, they have fought tooth and nail to get back into this game. What a game 3 it's been. They'll find the tier 1, possibly the tier 2, forcing ONIC Philippines in their base. And this is where we see this kind of lineup, which is a much better sieging lineup if they can pull it off.
Okay, the duality got to the two members. Brusco gets caught as well. And he answers right back with a final slam. But Team Spirit, they're running away. They're low on HP. They have to escape. Salvo barely makes it out alive. And that's going to be the disengage. What a fight by both of these teams.
What a game already. Again, neither team able to capitalize on a kill from there, but ONIC Philippines stays in it. So many immortalities, so many items being jungled at this point. Almost 25 minutes in, and this Lord is so crucial here for either team. As both get ready for positioning here. Now this is where we typically see an advantage with having a Louis Yi. That might be the play, it might not. You can already see the positioning here. But for Team Spirit, they're fully immortality it up. They've got everything they need. They'll start this Lord, but they have to be crucial about it because it does a lot of damage. Just like Sunset Lover. Keeps Kelra and Super Friends in check here.
Yeah. That diversion was used in a position that revealed where ONIC PH were. So Team Spirit have full information and have an idea of where all these members are. I don't think Seiko's gonna go for that, but yeah, they have to manage the waves first though. Team Spirit, given that their base is exposed, clearly are at a disadvantage when it comes to the waves.
This is the new dance that we have right now with the Lord. Diversion can be used. They won't follow through with it. This is about as rare it is now in the meta. We don't see this too often. 25 minutes in the battle for this kind of Lord. Try to manage your base, because for Team Spirit, that's the biggest disadvantage. All base turrets are down, and we've seen it before where ONIC Philippines, especially Louis, will just run it down on the opposite side of the map. That can't happen here. So they've been keeping this Lord around half health, just waiting for that window of opportunity. This is a crucial point for Team Spirit to answer. We'll go for a reset, but the Feather Airstrike dropped down too.
Lord reset over there.
Sound quite low, but do they commit?
Oh, they will actually commit.
No.
Now Sal blocking the path off the other members, but this is clearly Team Spirit at an advantage. They're the ones with the better
That Lord hurts, Hiko. Yeah, that Lord hurts. I don't think he wants to take that. These guys are yes, same sentiments. Bring it up for everyone in the audience. Hiko was so close to that Lord, and we've seen it before. Where a Lord, at this point, can take down some people and be an MVP.
Yeah.
So we're back to it. ONIC Philippines loses a member, but they still hold it together. Again, that's the advantage I was talking about. Here's a concealed play. They're going to go for Super Friends. They get the flicker. And now Kelra and Brusco on the run.
Super Friends! Use the diversion out! Oh my gosh, that's going to be top 1 in my ranking now.
The diversion at tier list continues to build as game 3 has been absolute cinema already. Still the fight for the Lord to ensue. Brusco could be in trouble here. He does have an immortality. Can he buy enough time? What's the play here? They're going to go and focus on it.
They're going to work. Is he going to buy enough time though? Actually still survives that.
Kid Bomba's not going to fall for it. He was down in the base, so Kid Bomba.
Oh my god, 27 minutes.
Time and time again, and it's not happening this time for Team Spirit.
Yep.
Welcome back to the Dots.
Welcome back. We're still here. 27 minutes in the game. We're still here. Dancing for the Lord. Immortality already popped though for Brusco. That's one thing you could probably take note of if you are Team Spirit. So Brusco will have to be a little more particular when he decides to go in and look for angles to set up using the Way of the Dragon. But still, this doesn't change the fact that ONIC PH can still have other ways to work around. There are diversion plays that can still come in, even if it doesn't start with Brusco. You just have to be very careful about it.
There's only so many immortalities, winner crowns, rose gold dogs that you can bring to the table. And eventually, those will run out. You'll have to switch things up. Diversion goes for Hiko. Brusco not close enough. Just about able to spot out Hiko. So now they're on this bottom side of the map, but still, neither team can really commit to this Lord just because of how beefy it is, how much it hurts. You can't really hold it there, even if you're one shot, which is crazy to think. You know, back with our utility junglers before, they could just hold it all day. Well, right now you can't.
Yeah. My heart can handle this anymore.
Pale. Pangre. Aduh, kahit dong sa lulu siya lulu.
Will he be able to save the game for his team though? He does deal enough damage.
Kano sabi si kita wino.
From behind, might just look for an angle, but there's the final slash. And King Kong gets blocked by the fist break, fist crack.
King Kong's in trouble, buys time with the winner crown, but it's not going to be enough as they are falling on the defense. ONIC trying to run, but Salvo jumps in with a flicker. He has Kelra in sight, as well as Super Fritz, and he can't escape either. Team Spirit has clawed back into this game. Kelra will keep them at bay. Another shot will get them down.
Kelra!
Can he find Hiko?
Kelra!
Hiko versus 2. Kelra and Bruce on the hunt.
Kelra! Pick her! Let's go, Kelra,
He still has these minions, but Bruce pop the conceal. They're gonna run him down. That's the kick. But do they buy enough space here? And the base is only gonna be worked on. And ONIC Philippines will make it happen in game 3. Wow. Wow. Whoa. What do we see?
This is such a wow moment. And you could see the fans rejoicing after that, 28-minute game? Going back and forth.
GG boys.
Moments where you thought ONIC already lost
ONIC for a reason.
No. Oh my goodness. It's such a devastating loss if you were Team Spirit, but ONIC, they literally won by holding on.
I know everybody can take a deep breath after that one.
Thank you, yes.
That was absolute cinema. There's no other way to put it. I mean, what a game 3. Two teams duking it out. I still gotta give it up to Team Spirit too. To come back from the deficit that they were
You can't come back to ONIC.
To bring it almost to this
point,
you
can't come back to ONIC.
The brink of almost winning is insane. Props to them, but ONIC Philippines showcasing again just how they can turn the tide. I mean, Kelra, people have been looking for that Kelra, the Savage himself. Like, look at that last defense that they had to do.
How?
I mean,
how did Kelra defend it?
The Destinadas, the Rhapsodies, the positioning. My God, you can see this, you know, like the sigh of relief even for the players as they went through this game. Again, just absolutely insane. Like, this is one of the, I feel like, just highlight games so far of MSC. Both teams super locked in.
Super locked in, yeah.
I mean, how did Kelra do that? How did Kelra do that?
Every single one of them. And that's why it
feels
so devastating to be in Team Spirit's position right now, because that was such a long game.
Yeah.
It definitely has been draining for them, and this was when we thought that Team Spirit nearly had it in the bag, because they were just becoming so aggressive. They were chasing after ONIC PH, pouring in all of their resources just to clear every single member. They forgot about Kelra, yes.
Look at this. Again, the fact that he's able to do that. Keep him in the game and make it work. And then he knows, okay, Brusco's with me. This guy has a conceal. We can get this little speed boost and make it happen. And great time. Brusco knew it as well. Goes in with a kick. Has enough range for Kelra to work.
Absolute cinema.
You can, everybody was hyped for it. Kip Boma as well. Very close. Let's throw it over to the desk. I can't wait to see what they have to say.
Oh boy, it is just... I hope you guys are enjoying the time of day. It is crazy how much cinema we are seeing here in this match.
Man.
I take it back.
Man.
Turn it into Team Spirit versus ONIC PH.
That was too much cinema.
It's only game 3. It is only game 3. How you doing? Game 3.
I love you. I love you too, bro.
We can have 2 more, maybe?
Maybe.
Oh, God.
If you're lucky.
Di ko na kaya. I mean, I can't take it. My heart can't take it. Brigida couldn't take it. What are the graphics?
Wow, me wow.
Wow, we wow. Oh my goodness, what a game! Showing time and time again why consistently 2 EWCs in a row we get the highest viewerships, we break records, and never doubt the Savage, never doubt Kelra to show up when his team needs him the most. Team Spirit, they got me scared, they got me terrified, they got me bubbling in a whole lot of ways I usually don't like.
But ONIC.
What?
I don't know what I'm saying anymore. You guys are my analysts here, so please take over.
It was an amazing series. It was definitely an amazing series. I don't think we would have asked for anything less. Down to, what was final game count? 30 minutes?
They
broke me too, yeah.
They broke us all, and I think no matter who lost that game, we were all going to be sad at some point, happy, excited. It was a roller coaster of emotions.
That was insane. Truly an insane game. I would say that there was a lot more weight on TS because, again, they were the ones with no inhibitors, the terrible early to mid, the constant lead for the side of ONIC PH, and that final sequence alone was crazy. For all the moments where we saw Sawo not be so good with that final slash,
and
finally
that lead to excitement, and that excitement is our, enjoyment.
Saving the play against King Kong. Kelra pulls through. Max Stacks, Sky Piercer, the difference maker.
Kelra pulled through. Bruce
this is why I always feel Sky Piercer in last item.
Yeah, what did you say about Kelra? How he was performing? He was like John who?
It's John Wick. There was I don't even remember what minute it was because the game was so long. I thought that was last game actually. Flicker.
Mathang sanagado match sida Onyx na kaigumba ka taragadi match loira.
Flicker sidestep into the feathered airstrike and then just bing bop boom bop bing bop bam.
And the crowd goes wild.
It was honestly, it was a great game to watch. That was a beautiful game. Oh, I thought it was 30 minutes. It was 29:37. We were so close to it.
It didn't hit 30 minutes, but I think it took 30 years out of my expected lifespan with the roller coaster of emotions that we saw there. Like at some point, it's like, of course, I was going crazy for ONIC Philippines here, but then I was also starting to feel for TS. It's like, yo, if you guys get this win,
match 3
the Filipino on the panel, but what a crazy back and forth, and then who pointed it out at some point? Hiko switched to a Guardian helmet even.
Yeah, he needed, it was just nothing to hit. And to be fair, it was Brusco who switched to it. He needed to make sure that not only did he have the tankiness, but more so to heal up from his lowered state to chase Hiko down at the very end.
5 game ID
from my base to your base. I need a couple more health points in my pocket. You know, Gideon, you said that. I think Team Spirit definitely felt that a little bit hard because you're right. The game was not in their hands for a while. I mean, they hung tooth and nail, and then finally were in control for the past 5 minutes. I feel like for the last 5 or so minutes of that game, it was theirs. They were winning all the team fights. They were coming out on top. All I can think of that last one was just go for the Lord.
Best of 5 ni sana doise best of 5 ni ko best of 5 sida 3 la ka team do adu no qualify oi do neba semi-final game adu no di
honestly I respect it, but the one thing that they forgot was the fact that Kelra had a majority of the Sky Piercers maxed out throughout the entire game. And I'm pretty sure if it wasn't maxed out in that last sequence, it definitely was after taking out the majority, the core members, Sunset Lover. Again, we saw his build earlier, right? He was not looking for anti-heal. He trusted that one anti-heal was going to be enough, which costed them the early to mid, especially when you have a Boxio on your side. I get it, but the real profit is when you get to that late game. Maxed out items. One shot against Kelra, he's put down to 50% of his HP. That's when Team Spirit felt, yes, we have a fighting chance in this battle.
I was actually talking about this with Chantel before the day started. Chantel, one of the Filipino casters, you see her in the crowd cams alongside Egan and the others from time to time, is that ONIC, one of their best qualities as to why they were able to end up becoming world champions is that their fearlessness, because they know they have so much coverage. King Kong falls, you have Kelra. Those two fall, you have Super Friends. And all the while, you get Brusco being able to do little things that actually have big impact in the long run in the games. This time, that was a huge highlight reel of that, especially there near the end, with the fact that with majority of the team down, since Kelra stayed alive and was getting stack after stack and he could not be found by Team Spirit, he was the difference maker in that game.
I'm sorry, I'm locked into the emotions on all the crowd's faces right now. I mean, I don't even It's hard to even analyze a game like that when it's like when a game goes 10 minutes, it's hard to size what the winning factor was. When a game goes that long, it's, you know, items, so many things are just kind of out the window, and it just goes down to who makes the final mistake there. And I do feel like Team Spirit made the final mistake there.
They did. If we're talking about potential adjustments for early to mid in terms of the draft, I hope they get Sawo off of this Arlet. It is costing them games. And right now, with the mechanics and how sharp we see ONIC PHB, they've got the Emperor Eye, everybody's John Wick, they apparently can see everything that is going on within the battlefield, and they pivot so fast on the balls at their feet, like actual fighters. So at this point, if they're going, if we are going to see Team Spirit try to bring it back like they did here in game number 3, they're going to need something that they're not only comfortable on, but are consistently able to execute.
I think that has to be the main linchpin now, because we've seen for all across the board for Team Spirit, don't need to worry so much about the hero pool. They have heroes locked in, they're ready. It's just what does Sawo end up with now at the center of the map. Because now we have two crucial games where Brusco, what used to be way back then a very comfortable, easy pickup for himself, so good in game number 2. Now in this game number 3, this Joe for him, I feel like was a huge unsung hero, but multiple times, whether it was for initiating or stopping Hiko from being able to follow up to what eventually Kid Baba and Sawo got to do, that was a big problem that Team Spirit had to deal with. So you need to look at the Brusco-Sawo matchup and make that your focal point now for these guys.
They were in the zone. They really were in the zone, which is why we are seeing a lot of the tricks being thrown out of the well, not thrown out of the book, but really implemented in this game. The fact that we saw Brusco go for the horizontal, vertical, the back flicker G Kundo onto Kid Bomba because he knew his exact position with the help of Super Friends. Process of elimination. The only thing that I have to say, the resilience of Team Spirit, the adjustments from Kid Bomba as well to make sure that they weren't getting consistently outplayed in the late game. It was all him.
I think resilience is honestly going to be the key in either this maybe last game or one more game. We've seen Team Spirit go the distance, even with a pick that maybe Sawo's not doing good on. And we heard Brigida said earlier, how do you go 30 minutes, you take a loss, can you keep yourselves collected? But honestly, even the winning faces of ONIC PH, they seemed worn out after that game. Super Friends was just sitting in his chair, blank stare at ahead, like, holy crap, like that was a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
We're at a point now where we could still have 2 more games. It's still very possible after seeing that last one, unless of course Team Spirit taps out here, unless of course ONIC PH is tapped out here.
Just like for the first 3 games, this crucial game number 4 is really going to be determined by the early game. Which of these 2 teams are going to pick the more aggressive lineup, and which of these 2 teams have the sharper execution in the first, I won't even say 3 minutes, 2 minutes of the game now. It's all on that, because if any of these 2 take momentum very quickly and get very quick double kills early on, that might spell doom for the one that didn't.
The adjustments are here, boys.
The adjustments are here, but it's actually from ONIC PH, banning out the Basha this time. Team Spirit is going to pick up the 1-1 up front, blue side now. That's the same pick we saw last game. What I want to... They keep banning out this Lancelot. I'm wondering, Team Spirit won their first game with damage on 1 shot. Should they pick up some damage for 1 shot here? The Bosch is gone. You might as well at this point.
Oof. Brusco gets his Kalea, and it's ONIC PH saying, no, we are going for the throne. Those first 2 picks from ONIC usually signal that they're going to be going for a fast tempo, high scaling, or quickly scaling lineup that can end the game sub 14 minutes. It's up to Team Spirit now to adjust and respond to that. Here's a fun fact about Kellra. He's the first player in MSC history to surpass 300 total kills. He now has 312 after scoring 14 kills as Granger last game. Again, to remind you, Kellra is a former MSC champion, won it in 2021, and he did so at the age of 15 or 16 if I'm not mistaken.
And he's only been to 3 MSCs, right? This is his 3rd?
Yes, this is his 3rd.
So he's averaging a little over 100 kills per MSC.
That's nuts.
Just to put that into perspective for everybody.
Yeah.
That is kind of crazy. However, based on what I'm seeing in the draft here, they're not taking immediate counter picks against ONIC PH. Again, they're foreshadowing what Super Friends is going to do, because again, Super Friends as well as Brusco were huge problems. Not to mention the fact that King Kong was kind of eating up both Sawo alongside with Sunset Lover for the first 13 minutes of the game.
I like this draft from Team Spirit here so far. Even though I said damage one shot, I think the Fredrin is solid, and it does preemptively stop the possible Joy, but Hayabusa is going to get picked up by King Kong. Remar, I see your face.
Yeah, ONIC PH are clearly going for aggro, we end this quick. Team Spirit are taking a more defensive route. But now, since it's a Hayabusa Fredrin, you're actually looking at Team Spirit's lineup to have that exact same potential as you have it also paired up with a Lapu Lapu. So yes, they're going to play around the 1-1, but there's a chance if ONIC slip up with the execution in the early